Welcome back, everyone, to the night shift. The NA money match is soon to be underway. The biggest money match we've had in quite a while as the new and revamped Floormen take on the one and only, the perennial champions, Melee Creeps. I'm ZP here with Jason. And Jason, I had a message that reminded me of something here in the break, which is that you talk about good Viscuses in NA. We haven't seen him in competition in a while, but Vegas also had one of the nastiest Viscuses around if you're talking about top NA Viscus play, something to get hyped up for when Hydra Nation returns. Hopefully they'll go against Floormen. I need to see that grudge match, you know?
Yeah, but I said good Viscus. I didn't say someone who plays Viscus and gets carried by his team. There's a very big difference here. I want to see Viscus who can do something, and then you say Vegas, and then
hey, I'm on Team Vegas. I will support Vegas in this endeavor. We will be on opposite sides of the couch, Jason, rooting fiercely when that Viscus battle goes down.
Opposite sides of the casting couch. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Who's sitting between us?
Probably Deathy. We'll get Deathy in there for some good analysis. Is what's going to happen. But Jason, we got to talk about what makes the show tick as we go into the championship match. Of course, we could not put on the show without the support of our patrons. The support has been overwhelming, and honestly, you guys are the absolute best. And the board members keep growing. As Dan mentioned, you know, it gets a little bit scary at some point. It's like at some point the voting power is going to be too strong, Jason. They're going to, I don't think they would ban a woos, but in fact, they could mandate more woos. They have the power.
Let's not let them know that they have the power. But you know, what I like to do every time I see this, you know, maybe not the other one, everyone else wants to do this, but I like to like call out some individual names out there of supporters that we have. Because, you know, we always look at the top. We never look at the bottom. And you know what? Okay, Soren's been done. I remember that. I'm going to give mine to Shiv's wife. Right there in the middle row, or the middle column, third from the bottom. Shiv's wife, thank you so much for being a night shift resident. What do you have, CP?
Yeah. My call out there? Well, first off, we just got a brand new one at the beginning for SK. Big supporter of the stream, long-time streamer on Twitch. Thank you very much for her support. But also, my call out right before that came out was going to be Thrill House.
Where's Thrill House?
Thrill House, $10 tier for the night shift cheap. What in the world? It just keeps it's multiplying.
Is Young Calc still a resident? Because we haven't seen Young Calc confirm. You know, actually, I talked to Young Calc, I want to say like a month ago, and I was like, bro, you got to come back. Like we miss you. Like we need to see you back in Deadlock competitive. He's still a resident. And you know what he said? He's been resting his wrist because it's, I guess, really bad, but he like kind of keeps irritating it. And the doctors he went to said that he just needs to rest, but he needs to go. He's gonna go see another doctor because it hasn't healed this entire time he hasn't been playing. So I hope to see him back soon. You know?
Yeah, I mean he's in the hyperbolic time chamber. He's resting. And he has mentioned he will be coming back one day. It's just, so it's like one of those old mythology tales. Like one day the return of Calc shall happen. Of course,
Speaking
if you watch
returns, Goopy Noopy coming. I'm sorry to jump in, but another $25 donation. Incredible games this week. Vote Apollo. So you know what to do with your votes, guys. It's either to put up money to say vote other people, or now everyone has to vote Apollo. That's how it works here on the night shift. Last donation gets to choose where all the votes go.
That's right, or something along those lines. We got to talk about the champions, the team that we haven't looked at the roster here tonight, but you see every time in the finals the past 2 months. It is the Melee Creeps. And Jason, at this point, all household names within the NA Deadlock scene. There's a lot to say about all of them. And, you know, who do you want to talk about here? I got my favorites, but I'll give the choice of first glazing to you, as it were.
I mean, I need some time to recharge before I can glaze again, but I'll try here. For me, it's Saya. You know, I think looking at North America, we talk about a lot of players. On this team, everyone talks about Ido. Everyone talks about Jonja, but not many people give Saya the credit he deserves. I was watching back their scrims from Monday, I believe it was, where they were playing some Silver, which Ido obviously popped off when it came to Silver. But Saya had some really amazing plays when it came to Kelvin and blocking off the mid pit so other people couldn't steal away the Reju. If you talk to any like top North American player, or a lot of the top North American players, they will say probably Saya might be the best NA player. And considering he plays like support for the team, you don't really see that expressed in these matches, but that's how truly respected he is as a gamer right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on Saya talk. And for me, the person I want to highlight probably got to be DMB, where we've talked about him before. You know, oftentimes, you're right, we do talk a lot about John and Ido, but DMB goes all the way back to some of the original Hydra Nation teams. It's a player who I think has leveled up the most as far as a lot of players. NNA used to be a player with a lot of weaknesses, now looks really, really solid, often on carry heroes, and was the one shining hope for Infernus players out there, proving that Infernus was very viable at the top levels of competition. Even got out an Infernus ban last week out of respect from Bunny with Clock. This is a player that I think just does what you want from a Mouse One player. As a $25 donation coming in from Elizabeth Marcini. Thank you so much. Of course, she's currently a talent off in Valorant right now, and a great one at that.
Actually, she likes to be called Lisa. I learned today in my stream, but I kept calling her Elizabeth. She's like, actually, it's Lisa. And I was like, actually, I only care if you're a sub. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. I didn't say it at all. But yeah, no, thank you again for the donation. No notice though, like no comment. She could have easily put vote Celeste, but didn't.
Honestly, we have not had a lot of Vote Celeste comments as far as the donations go. Like, we've gotten a lot of Venator, a little bit of Apollo, and what we've learned is that those voting for Celeste, you know, they've been showing it with their words more than anything else. But we got to move the show along here, Jason. I think the draft is just about ready to go. Or, you know, maybe we go to do we go to roster here? NA history. We can stall a little bit for the draft if need be. Yeah, let's talk about the roster, because there's no hydration on this team anymore, Jason. Those tuning in wondering what in the world happened to my Floormen. Where is hydration? Where is Zerbsy? Well, they did another roster change, and finally, after nearly a year and a half of hydration was the one on the end of a roster change.
Yeah, honestly, never thought that would happen, because it was always like him as being one of the few players who never got changed off the team. But, you know, going back to Hydra Nation, back to that name, for the life of me, I cannot remember the full roster off the top of my head, though I know I could dig it up. And hopefully we'll be seeing them in the next few weeks at some point, because it does give us another really good North American team. But at the moment here for Floormen, we glazed up Goober quite a bit here in this last game. Oh no, we got another donation coming in from Flexin Hard DL. $50. Night shift, the highlight of my week. Every week. Good luck to all the players. Vote Venator. All right, so you hear that, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any votes left, you have to go now vote Venator until another one comes in that changes who we vote for. But man, the community today, ZP, has been outstanding. They've been outrageous with how much they've been given here to the prize pool.
It's lovely to see. I think, honestly, sentiment around Deadlock is been at an all-time high, and look, for good reason. The new heroes have been coming out as cool. The new map is incredible. The patrons. I mean, you just see all the hard work that has been taking place over the last 2 years really come together in just an awesome way, and more and more people are starting to notice. And the ridiculous thing, Jason, it's not even open beta yet.
I think that's one of your biggest tweets that you've had ever. Was talking about all the people sleeping on Deadlock and how they shouldn't be sleeping on it, because this game is going to be amazing and is going to blow the roof off of all these other esports. And hopefully we get to that point. Hopefully ZP, hopefully it comes soon, man. I think people want open beta. I want to see how many players we get in this game. I want to see these big, massive events. I want to see I want to be at that first LAN. I know we've had the LAN in Canada, that the first international LAN is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the first lands are something special in any game. But as we get into the pick ban, again, NA being very different than EU. EU was undervaluing Geist, in my opinion. Floormen not doing the same. Although I do wonder, this is part of the John hero pool. Is Floormen going to go down the ban out John path? Because banning Geist is actually step one, Jason.
I'm holding my breath.
Oh, yep. It's coming. Just get ready.
But who's it coming for?
Oh!
Wait, I said I would do it different this time. Hold on. If I was doing it through a megaphone. Yeah, Silver comes in. Have not seen it played in NA yet. Was banned out in the first game. Melee Creeps, one of the few teams that's seen NA actually play it in scrims, and now they're going to be against it. I just don't know who on Floormen's side is going to be on it. I almost want to say AVG.
Possibly. I'm thinking here. It also Rocker. Sometimes Rocker is the new hero guy. Also, if you look back at it, like
don't AVG, please. Why is he baiting me, ZP? He's like, he's playing support for our team, and now he's playing GT, he's playing silver. Like, come on.
Well, it comes at a cost to go for silver here. You had 2 serious frontliners taken out with Yamato and Geist, and you pick silver, but you give up Shiv Abrams. So a tax has been enacted, and normally I'd say, well, at the very least, you could grab something like Paige along with Billy. They get the Billy at a minimum. I don't know if the Paige is going to be highly valued. Frankly, when you look at the EU estimation of the meta, which is something I agree with, I would love to see either a Paige or a Rem here. A Rem would go pretty hard, I think, with Billy Silver right here. And we've already seen how good something like a Rem Silver can play together, but instead they go Warden, and the John hate draft is in full effect, Jason.
I'm just thinking, could we see the debut of John Silver? Not John Silver, John Silver.
No.
Or are we gonna see Gunamo again out of John here?
It's possible. The Gunamo worked.
What am I doing? Bebop.
Yeah.
John Bebop. Makes perfect sense.
He's back in. Oh my goodness. Soulrise Shuffle, $100. Is there a message to go along with that?
Predator. Celeste is the best. All right. All votes to Celeste. I'm gonna log in Deadlock right after this and put them all to Celeste, unless we get another donation changing who I vote for.
Well, good luck to you in your future.
All right.
Please, Kelvin. See, put some respect on Saya. Take away the Kelvin.
That is 100% respect on Saya. You're not banning Kelvin for anyone else other than melee creeps, because Saya, similar to DMB being one of the only players to play Infernus, Saya has been one of the only people still playing Kelvin. Even Saint, often EU, has not been a fan. Melee creeps, though, decide, you know what, we want a little bit more damage in our life. We're going to pick up Mirage. And actually, think about the John historic hero pool. John did go through a playing nothing but Mirage phase, but also it's just as likely, Jason, that this could be for DMB.
I can't read that donation. You have to read it.
Vote mustache on Kaplan. Honestly, yes. And let me tell you, his wife will love it.
Actually, I did surprise her today. I did not tell her I was shaving off the stash, and she noticed right away. I'm surprised more people didn't notice it actually, to be fair.
Well, congratulations on not sleeping on the couch. You know, you finally upgraded from couch with one facial hair move. But the Rem coming in, oh man, Jason, I'm looking at the Floormen draft, and I do wonder, again, does the rocker narrative hold true? Because between the two teams, as good as Shiv and Abrams are, I like the fact that you're getting Rem, you're getting Holiday in for pick potential. Yeah, you're getting Bebop, which, by the way, John Bebop is the thing. It's going to be John Bebop and DMB Mirage for sure, if this is what's going in.
Are we seeing the return of Saya and Paradox?
Maurice and I got your back.
Nope. I think he may be. Oh, I don't know. It's hard. Cool or
Yeah, right. I'm like, Scout would normally play the Paradox for them. Ido's probably gonna be on the Shiv. League's probably gonna be on Abrams. We don't Mirage Bebop, so that puts Saya either on Mo and Krill or Paradox. Oh my God, 7?
He's on Mo. I actually think Saya's gonna be on Mo, because Mo is sort of weird, where you either have your support players play the Mo, or you get your playmaker players playing your Mo. Yeah. He's not like a traditional frontliner, but yeah, 7 coming in. Look, I talked with Lightbringer over the course of the week, and Lightbringer, this is something he feels vehement about. He says, when you ask him about 7, he says the hero is disgusting right now, incredibly undervalued. If that's accurate, then you have to look at the Floormen draft as something terrifying.
I played a lot of 7 in the last few weeks, and I completely agree. He is. I mean, so Lightbringer builds it a different way than normally I was doing it, but the bullet enchantment with him put onto your power surge, which is your 3. If you go intensifying as well, or maybe you just replace intensifying with that, you do so much extra weapon damage. It is crazy. And you still do a ton of spirit because of power surge and how 7 kind of exists. The thing is, he just needs a lot of farm. He's like very weak. You need to like triple dip into your investments before you really have like a good power spike, because he's like very squishy until you get the vitality. You don't have much damage until you get the spirit and the gun online. But he's definitely like one of those late game power players for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the side laning works out here. I mean, you're going to have Warden in one side lane, 7 in the other, and you're going to be giving most of your jungle farm to 7 and Warden in particular. And then you're going to be doing a lot of roaming, especially with Silver, Rem, Holiday, that are going to be making a lot of space in and around the map. So in terms of soul economy and building this up, I think how Floormen have built their comp looks pretty darn reasonable. Melee creeps, though, I mean, have plenty of win conditions on their own. Anytime you pair up Bebop and Mo and Krill, it's one of the deadliest kill combos you're going to have. I mean, what's better than a long-range hook from John John? Saya there with both fists as a greeting, right? Like, it works out very, very well. But a lot is going to depend on DMB being reliable, getting good farm on the Mirage, and, you know, basically Scout making good plays on the Paradox you have a lot of pick potential for melee creeps, and they're going to have to rely on that to get to a reasonable late game.
I'm excited for this, man. I think there's so many like storylines playing into this match right now. I'm looking. I mean, we didn't even touch on Holiday, really, right? Goober's Holiday. I mean, I just glazed him so hard, so I don't want to do it again. But his Holiday is ridiculous. Like he's a firm believer in stand mastery on every single hero he basically plays, and except Viscous. And you're gonna see why here. If he's been practicing his movement, he's been able to do things we've seen him do in his own stream. Earn runs are going to be extremely fast and efficient. So melee creeps, you're going to have to basically contest the pickup if you want to deny it from going in, because you're not going to catch them around the map. But this is also, I mean, kind of interesting because like Rem and Seven are going to be very kind of susceptible and weak in the beginning. So you're really relying on Silver, Billy, Warden, and Holiday to be your core until they do get to that point.
Yeah, I think all... What's the O?
That was another $5 donation from the post lamp. If there is any upset in the finals, I will upgrade my Patreon tier.
Oh.
All right, Floorman, come on, guys. We hope you guys got this. Melee creeps, get out of here. You have enough wins.
Well, I got news for you. I believe in this draft from Floormen so much that all my channel points are riding on Floormen. If they lose this map, I am channel point broke. That's my stake in this right now, Jason.
I watch the streams in mod view, so I don't get channel points. So I can't really. Only if you click. You don't get them like over time from watching.
I am curious though, going into it, who is going to be the silver player? My guess is Rocker, which kind of blows away the support narrative. Although we did have this entire idea we were talking earlier, is that there is like some support silver style builds that you could do if you're focusing more on going all on hit and that sort of play style. So I guess we'll see.
I honestly think it's going to be him on Rem. But I want to see. I'm with you. Please, observers, show us who is right, who is wrong. Where's the silver going to be playing? And come on, why you got to spam 6? That's not going to be Lord. That's got to be Lord and M spamming 6, 7. That's
yeah. That seems like Lord and M's brand. I would expect. I would expect nothing less. Oh boy. So let's see who's on what. Okay.
Okay. It is Lord and M on silver. All right.
No pressure, Lord and M, but actually all the pressure in the world. You don't want to feed on silver, not when the chat is just frankly as feral as it's been all day long.
Yeah, Pashi was a 7 player. I know we're talking about silver here, but he was a 7 player like way back on melee creeps, like almost the original formation of melee creeps, which feels like forever ago.
Yep, old favorites. And speaking of old favorites, nothing more of an old favorite than the John John Bebop. It was in cold storage for a while here, Jason, but some Bebop changes hit, and he's back. And we'll see if he remembers how to land some of the best hooks we've ever seen. You know, I think where the John John Bebop really got its ultimate respect, it would have to be the Trolley tournament late last year.
Yeah, that's when we're seeing the gun Bebops really shine. Him and Goober in particular stand out to me. I swear I can't go 5 minutes without talking about Goober. It's horrible.
It's a problem. Like it may be a problem. Like, you know, Hook comes in and no, not quite. But taking a look at the lanes, we haven't really talked about the lanes in earnest here. Mid lane for Floormen, Holiday, Warden. Honestly, against Bebop, a Hook can turn it, but it's a pretty good poke lane. Like, there are plenty of scenarios where that is a losing lane for melee creeps. Right now, we're taking a look at the left-hand side. We got a little Rem with 7, and if nothing else, it's going to be difficult to stop 7 from efficiently getting farm in the lane with Rem here. I feel like Mo and Krill Mirage versus this, it's almost it's a lower action lane to me, Jason.
Yeah, it's almost like non-interactive. You're not going to really get a kill, except maybe when you get combo online. But even then, I wouldn't really expect it. It's just about farming. I think that's why you're seeing Saya just run back and go box run as much as possible.
Goober really loves early rotations. I mean, it is 3 men from the Floormen here on the right-hand side, applying a little bit more pressure as see where Goober ends up taking this roam to. But for now, it's just League getting some farm in mid.
Not only him, though. Also, John going to be getting a lot of farm here. And we expect him to get a lot of farm, too. Unless they're going to throw it over to Fish Cake and John will play like a little bit more supporting.
I don't like this, though. I feel like if you're going to have Scout do roaming the same way Goober is doing, I mean, okay, things have changed a little bit. Bebop, maybe you do want Bebop more farm, but generally speaking, Bebop usually isn't one of your get him ultra rich targets. Like, there's better targets on your team to get rich. But we'll see. I mean, when John just play Bebop, he has usually been in that role, so.
Okay, so some QSR picked up here for Saya. Maybe they can make a play, but again, realistically, not going to be looking to dive under that tower. To charge for pillows. We did see Rem earlier on played by Gibbs, and he did go for max for the little helpers. Slightly different build so far.
DMB trying to go for the pressure behind the tower, getting a pillow for his trouble. And you see there, I mean, Rem just able to add a little bit of healing, but take a look. John up over on the left-hand side now. Being a threat on his own in terms of ganking, and not the biggest amount of damage here, but still, anytime you're dealing with 3 heroes in lane, you have to play so incredibly defensive, Jason.
Yeah, I'm wondering, are they like switching off who's ganking to kind of balance out the farm between each other? Because like John is quite far ahead now, Scout at 3.5, as he's soaked up a lot, but I would imagine Scout actually just kind of held the lane back.
I see Abrams.
Goober.
Make sure it didn't crash.
Goober on the rotation to the right-hand side now, of course. Early enough in the game that there's no lasso, but you still got barrels, and that one connects. AVG finishing off what Goober is able to help enable with the barrel. So it's a barrel and probably quickly heading back to mid, Jason, as Hyperline for his trouble into the bomb. I don't know if this is going to be enough to be lethal, but it is enough to at least employ a little bit of an HP tax.
It might be lethal for Scout, though.
Oh, boy.
Time thief, please.
That's rough.
Well, Mr. Postlamp, I hope you got your subscription open up on another tab, because it could be happening here. A very strong start for Floormen. Really reading the rotations well and reading their ganks well.
And yet, you look at the net impact, while it's good, you know, you don't hate getting these kills. So far, it's not reflected as much in the aggregate here so far. So plenty of time left for melee creeps to right the ship, as it were, as, you know, in terms of objectives, things are just about even. But into the mid we go. Charge in from Ido, looking for blood, about to go to jail for the attempt, but they take down Morden in the process. 400 HP, that's still a pretty tanky Abrams in the moment, and the rest of the pressure now just gonna go into the Guardian.
Okay, so some counter gank coming through, but with him leaving the right-hand lane, it leaves the Guardian susceptible, which will be the first one of the game. Go over to Floormen. Now he's got to be a little bit careful as he does back away. He even picked up rebuttal in this game so far, considering he's up against a Silver and a Billy. And, you know, we were talking with Blink on the Graveyard Shift earlier on about you have to get around Silver's weak laning phase. I mean, obviously, I'm not expecting you to be an expert. I'm no expert on Silver. But what's your take on, you know, from looking at it, of a Silver Billy lane?
I think it's a lane that it's still going to be hard to push, just because of the fact that you're giving Billy a reasonable amount of respect for his space control, and the fact that you don't want to get hit by a Bola while a Billy is on top of you. Like, the damage can still really ramp up. It's probably not the most aggressive of lanes, for the same reason that, like, Silver just has bad damage there. But hold the phone off and over. Saya getting caught out by Rocker. See where this one goes. A little bit of healing here onto Goober, who definitely has turned into a holiday movement enjoyer, which explains the holiday thing, where Goober's just like a falling down the movement hole.
Oh, good little seismic impact comes in, gets the charge onto Goober. Posh Pop using his ultimate, though, to zone and keep everyone away to make sure his teammate does not die. But the pressure's still going to be here out of melee creeps. Gonna be a 2-on-3 though, so they have to be a little bit respectful for this. In the meantime, they did lose out on Lord and M in the mid lane, who went for a gank because John was going to be there, not to mention Saya, who rotated on in, essentially pulling off another, as they do take down AVG equalizing things pretty close now between the two teams, ZP.
And Floormen, they've been more overcommitted to the left. They need to take down someone here to compensate for some of the kills they lost on the other ends of the map rather. And it doesn't appear to be happening. It's just kind of been stuck in on the left-hand side. So melee creeps getting a good advantage here, Jason, over the last minute.
Joshua coming in with a $50 donation. As you do see the Paradoxical swap come through over onto League, who's just trying to stay alive here at this last stand, truly being his last stand if FishK closes this one out. Again, we talked about the earn pickups are going to be a very important part, and we have to keep our eyes on that as we get to 2 minutes later on. But I don't know if you have the comment open, ZP, and want to read it, or if you want me to do it.
Take a gander. Joshua says, hey chat, let's get the money match to 1,500 or more. We can do this easily. Apollo Nation. P.S. You guys should put a donation link in the YouTube description for us YouTube viewers. That is fair. We need to do that.
He's on it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Maybe we should be giving Josh 50 bucks.
That's true. You know, just a consulting fee. That's how that one works. But Jason, we're a minute away from first earn spawn. Melee creeps nursing a small 3k edge in what has been a very, very back and forth early game here so far. Looking at the overall game state, both teams down, one Guardian. Still about as even as it gets, but you know, the question is, how afraid do you have to be of John, who's looking pretty darn farmed on a Bebop that's gotten, at times, uncontested farm in the mid?
Yeah, he's at 8k. Do want to see what he's building towards when we get a moment. That moment's not happening right now. A good spot to keep him in that time bomb. The chain gang pulls in. Scout under the Guardian gets parried, and AVG will inevitably fall. Well, they also do take a guard on the left-hand side, so Scout opens things up for a kill, and they take more across the map as that earn is spawning in 30 seconds. And I wouldn't be surprised to see melee creeps actually kind of flex out here and look for both buffs as well.
20 seconds left till buffs come into play. Also, ooh, Goober finding Scout. That is a timely kill as it's 10 seconds from buffs and the earn starting to fall down. See how much contest we get here. For now, melee creeps, they're going to take ownership of both buffs, Jason.
Yeah, they like to do this a lot, actually. Thinking back to prior weeks, they really like to just kind of apply their pressure across the map with these buffs and use that as like a snowball potential, because the earn has spawned in and they do have the presence to go for the pickup there with Saya. So they don't even give Goober a chance to pick this one up and get across the map. But then again, he does have stand mastery, so he's not trying to get across that quickly. But they should divulge into a fight. I don't see a world where Floormen let this one go for free.
Wait, is this a gank out of the teleporter? Ido just walked into an ambush and charged out just as quickly. So it would seem. And is there going to be any contest here? No, they don't care about the earn. This is the freest earn ever, and they get a Guardian in exchange. Maybe you get DMB, but it seems like an odd macro trade here. If you get DMB, it feels a little bit better, but you don't even necessarily have that. DMB, tornadoes out, using movement, off to the safety of the walker. The cage is coming on through, and it hits behind the truck. Surely DMB falls here and does, but still, earn for this? Not the worst. As long as they don't take serious damage on the walker anyways.
Oh, but John's here. He misses the hook. Last stand comes out, knocks him away to try to buy some time. Even the hyper beam on top of this does keep them away. But you see Goober coming in, just raining barrels from the sky, not allowing John to get comfortable and to get safe. And he's going to be taken out by Goober eventually.
Goober, though, gets real low in the process. Ido on the punish, but oh, here we go. Still half the time left here on Silver like a curse, but okay, Silver might be good, but not so good that you can walk into the walker like that and not get focus fired down. So was not quite the cinematic Silver play.
I'm trying to think how the trade went out too, because it was earned for melee creeps. They lost 2 Guardians. They lost 2 players, but they got 3 kills and a Guardian themselves plus earn. I want to say it's a melee creeps win at the end of the day. Would you agree?
Overall, yeah. I mean, I think Floormen were hoping to get some walker damage, get out cleanly. It wasn't quite as clean, and they still gave up earn. And I mean, look, at this point, it's not a lead to where you can't fight, but you're not loving the game state. Also, I feel like when you're running a Silver comp, you want to be looking for more skirmishes to take advantage of the fact that, you know, your Lycan Curse has a pretty short cooldown, and I don't feel like we've really talked about Silver much this game,
Yeah.
Jason.
And the thing is, they kind of contradict each other because Silver wants to fight. Poshpop hasn't hit a single investment yet in his items, which makes him very susceptible. I talked about this before, right? Like 7, you need triple investment to really be able to hold your own. And you actually probably need a little bit more than that. You can see here, he immediately gets dropped, ganked in his own jungle, knowing Poshpop's going to be there. I'm curious about how big was his bag that he just dropped? Because he's been farming up jungle.
It may have been pretty big given the fact that the lead is now ballooned to 10K. Lycan form is up, but this is a scared wolf, not a confident wolf. If you've ever seen one, it is a full retreat. Oh. There's no combo, but oh, what about the raw combo? DMB just fists over. Goober falling in the melee. There's more action here around the Floormen Walker. Still, Ido again a little bit low, but hey, you're Abrams, feeling pretty tanky.
When this fight's over, ZP, I feel like we need to clarify why we're wooing so much because the fight hasn't ended. Fishcake, oh, some good movement here, creating some distance. Oh, that is clean. Using those right clicks to perfection. Escapes where he probably should have been able to. And it looks like no one on melee creeps will fall here. So, yeah, ZP, the woos. For everyone that's joined us and doesn't know what the hell's going on, well, obviously Silver's out, right? And she's a werewolf. But we made a deal at the start of the stream. So we put up 600 to the prize pool. And if we hit 1,200 from donations, which we've passed double already, we would woo every time there's a silver ulting in the game. So that's why we're doing that. Hopefully it doesn't annoy you guys too much. If it does, we'll grow up because it's a little bit of fun here on the stream. But
chat has generally been more on the chat's been more on the woo train than we have.
Hell yeah.
To be fair.
I'm looking at that one person out there. You know who you are. Bob.
Well, over on the game stat, I'm getting a little bit of flashbacks to the game that Floormen had against Bunny with Clock. They didn't quite fall this far behind before, but we'll see if Floormen can do it again where, hang on, they're setting up for DMB. DMB, does he know the danger? The bola, though, completely whiffs, so the mobility still fully in there, able to get the tornado out, and it's not successful. The only way that worked, Jason, would be if you landed the ball, but instead, take a swap, go through the wall. This is all sorts of bad for Lord NM. Fall through, though, may not be coming, as it was mostly done to just clear out things for DMB.
Last stand out of league to make sure that he doesn't lose his teammate. I'm getting confirmation from chat that was about a 400 bag that Poshpop lost on that gank earlier on the underground. So not too much money lost, unfortunately, or luckily for him, but he still hasn't hit a power spike in any of these. Oh, no. Joshua comes back in without 25 saying, I mean, you could just do like a $5, like a $1 donation. You have to do 25, man, but the YouTube link is live. So good job, Solomon.
Excellent. And so is the urn contest. Floormen not wanting to give up another urn. AVG able to grab the urn, but at what prices? What in the world is happening? The Abrams into the lasso, off the charge at the end. Absolute ridiculousness, but it hits the mark for Ido. However, a storm is brewing. Pashi with the storm cloud is enough to free up Floormen here. Goober's still really, really low. Pashi exploded, but the prize here is that the urn is on a fast break. It's DMB that's trying to chase down the urn and gets the urn drop. DMB chasing down as just a mirage into the 1-on-2, disrupting, buys time with his life, and now Ido is sitting at the urn turn in. Is this gambit going to be effective? Goes in, and no, Goober is still able to get the turn in. Ido not able to interrupt, and all in all, that's actually pretty good for the Floormen, Jason.
Yeah, it looks like they teleported over and we're on the underground, so there's no chance for them to go for the contest. It was a good attempt by DMB, but it did cost him his life, and it's not like they gained anything around the map from that one, so maybe a little bit of a misstep to not just let it go if you weren't able to fully commit on that contest. But I will say this, though. I think in that last fight, Poshpop popping the Storm Cloud, you kind of saw melee creeps initially respect it, and then they were like, wait a minute, this thing does no damage. And they came right back out and immediately bursted them as fast as they possibly could. And that's just, again, I'm talking about a lot because I've been playing a lot of 7. I mean, he's at 13,000 souls. He's out of this game for a very long time right now because he's too far behind, and he doesn't have any of his power spike. He finally gets a power spike for gun investment, but he's still not going to be effective until he gets like the triple investment.
Honestly, Jason, I think it's wild that AI data centers are just hitting even 7 on how much power he can generate at the moment. It's just, everyone's feeling the price increases because, yeah, I mean, 0-3-7 at 13K. You're on the redemption arc. You're in the hit the jungle and maybe be a threat later in the game. However, because of how the game works and, you know, the aggregate soul scaling, it lets League get pretty damn farmed by comparison and not suffer big penalties if you die, not give the other team comeback souls. So having one member poor, you know, there are some unintentional upsides.
Take a look here at some of these other items. I mean, slowing Hex picked up for Lord M with life strike, so he's really trying to stick to the target he's attacking. I didn't see if Goober quite had stand mastery just yet, but his counterpart Scout has it. The last stand will come out. John has capacitor, so there's really no chance you can run away from him if he does hit you with the hook, but more importantly, he's got to hit you with that hook to make it possible. Zydo's on the chase. Trying to support some movement here. But he's kind of like all by himself against 3. He's actually the one in a bad spot.
Yeah, I know he may be Abrams, maybe Takey, but you're going to get lassoed. You're not going to seismic slam away. It was off cooldown anyways, and yeah, okay, well, hold on. Hold on. Idol may be proving wrong. There's absolutely no way someone this big should be getting out in this way. Dives on in. His seismic slam is just about to be back up. Waiting to leave. Charge around the side. Up, over, melee. Do you seismic out? No. 200 HP and a dream. No. Off to the side. Oh my goodness. There's no way. Wait, he's still getting chased. Good attempt though.
I know that's gonna be a TikTok from him, and it's gonna end before he dies, saying, "Look at my great movement." But that was, I mean, let's be honest, that was some very good movement out of him. But it does cost him not only his life, but also John's, and they also picked up a kill on a DMB yet again here, only losing Poshy Pop. So that 10k lead we had fairly early on this game is pretty much null, and we're getting just 1 minute away from the next buff spawning in. Previously, melee creeps, I believe, got both. Was that the 10-minute mark? No, I think it was the 15-minute mark. Jason, so I'm not quite sure they're gonna be able to do it yet again.
This feeling, it's a familiar feeling when I'm watching this iteration of the Floormen. You know what team they're reminding me of in the sense of even when they have a bad start, they're finding ways back into the game.
Sneaky Golem?
No, I go to EU. I'm kind of getting Buff Enjoyers vibes. Like when Buff Enjoyers would have those games where sometimes it would start out badly and they would just find a way back in. And it wouldn't necessarily be just from one big event. It would just be, you know, good map management and a good fight here and there. It's kind of what Floormen have been doing because for how good Melee Creeps was playing at the beginning, it feels like we shouldn't be in a game where Floormen now are up 1k.
Uh-oh. I mean, we hear a combo, but Saya, it's just you +1. Rotations need to come through. We hear the coming out of Lord and M, who has like and cursed and transformed. Cooper with a little bit of a missed barrel there coming through. Trying to go for the chase over onto DMB. Connects onto the second. And we'll have backup there. And another bad fight here for Melee Creeps. Another good fight here for Floormen. They get themselves 3 kills. The Urn is spawning in. And they're
going mid-boss. Yeah. And they probably have the gun damage. I mean, that's a 20k Warden. You're usually pumping at this point. So this mid-boss likely is not going to be living all that long. We'll see what sort of contest comes out here. The lasso comes out in the middle of the contest. Gonna seal Fishcake's fate. Mid-boss still alive, mind you. Melee Creeps. Saya gonna be coming into the fight here in a moment. John certainly looking to contest. Uppercut or to use 2 rejuves though into the Floormen and let loose the storm, says Poshy. All 3 rejuves going the way of Floormen. 1 used immediately, 2 still in the bank as Melee Creeps have to quickly retreat. Jason?
What's up?
No, I thought those were soundboard for. I think that was
no. That was yeah, like double voice line there for some reason. And a good push. They immediately head towards that urn, realizing that DMB could steal it away. Lord and M couldn't buy a bola if he tried. I don't know. I'm so mean to him. He's such an awesome
guy. To be fair, everyone seems to have trouble with the bola. Like Listic was malding on stream earlier today about how he could not hit bola and had trouble like landing bola earlier. The bola is an acquired talent that I don't know if silver players have actually mastered since Monday, is what I've learned so far.
I'm just saying, I've never missed a bola in my life.
Yeah, never casted a bola in your life.
Exactly, but I've never missed.
Yep.
So with Rejuve and Urn in hand, Floormen are looking to go for the turn-in while Melee Creeps are in the vicinity looking for a catch. Speaking of catches, the hook onto Rem doesn't pull him quite as far as they wanted to.
Rem deserves this. Squash him. And okay, well, message received, the combo in onto Rem immediately. Gonna pop the Rejuve as the Urn fight is in contest. Meanwhile, League is just taking down the Walker as this is going on. So you got the fight in the left-hand side, fight in here for the Urn. Urn pickup about to come and play here for Melee Creeps. They had one on the Urn. Ido, though, just gets blapped in the middle of the fight. Urn Now being rotated over. AVG gonna grab it. Still one rejuve here for Floormen. And the melee comes in from Owen Krill, but immediately has the warp stone out. They're just walking away. And members from melee creeps are dying bit by bit here, Jason.
It's gone from bad to worse, man. And this walker might fall too on the right-hand side. Melee creeps losing out on 3 players there. Well, I guess it was... Yeah, it was 3 players. Actually, no, I think... Yeah, it was 3, sorry.
Yeah. You mathed well.
Is Jandra going to have the damage he needs at the moment? He's at 21k, but he doesn't really have any damaging items. He's up against League with 26. This is not looking good for melee creeps. You might have potentially that new champion. You might see a patron tier get upgraded out of one of our loyal supporters.
It's the rocker effect. But the swap comes on in. AVG may have bit off more than they could chew here on the side. Walker still really not the easiest kill to finish off as okay, Pachi goes for the teleporter. John just walks up and says nuts to that. Melee creeps able to get a few consolation kills towards the end, but you look at the game state here, down 2 walkers, down 21,000 souls. It's not out of reach here, Jason, but it's a rough spot. Also, this is a rich holiday. When was the last time we saw a holiday with this level of farm in the Spirit holiday meta? You have to go back to Gun Holiday, see a holiday that's this rich.
I mean, he's got 9 kills and 10 assists. He's been the playmaker for the team, living up to what Holiday's supposed to do.
This should keep him on their toes.
Alk Flash, Rapid Recharge, Stand Mastery, Greater Expansion, Bullet Enchantment. He's got pretty much everything he needs at this point. Thing is, with Rocker playing support, it kind of frees Goober up to actually play a little bit more aggressive in the builds too. That's, I think, something we haven't really touched on. You look at his Viscous last game, he was pumping damage. Yet again here with Holiday too.
Yeah. Also, Holiday, a lot of people wondering, okay, what's the role of recharging shot, and kind of an item tailor-made for Holiday to get even more barrels. It's like, little did you know, more barrels with the recent itemization. But looking at the left-hand side, I feel like if you're melee creeps, you need to get active soon, Jason, before this game gets completely out of hand. The next urn is coming up soon. If you could jump on Floormen here, it would be good, but they don't appear to be looking for that opportunity. Instead, I wonder if this is going to go the other way around, as the buff is about to spawn here on the left-hand side. All the action taking place here on the...
Nope. Can we hover over Echo Shard? What does he have it attached to? Is it the pillow toss? I think that would make... being able to tag along again immediately in a fight?
No, it's got to be tag along. It's 100% tag along.
That's kind of ridiculous. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, actually, again, the Lightbringer propaganda was saying, I don't know why people aren't echo sharding tag along. It's actually ridiculous.
I see crew.
There's no way it's pillow. I refuse to believe it's pillow.
Confirmation? Can you hover over it so we see like what? Okay, maybe we won't have time.
Okay, quick abduction. Scout down though in the exchange. Floormen not really hurt at all. And the combo attempt going to the wayside. 3 down for melee creeps, and a brutal fight yet again that's going to lead to another urn perhaps for the Floormen.
Yeah, I mean, you're down over 30 seconds now. There's no way you can contest this. This will get across the map before there's any chance. And yeah, it is for sure Echo Shard tag along, as you saw there, popping onto Billy twice. Honestly, that's kind of brilliant. You like go through your entire team, and then you can Echo Shard and go through your entire team yet again. And it's like, what, 15% like baseline of health healing? That's a lot of healing you can do in a really quick amount of time, especially with like healing Nova in there too. But the certain uncontested turn in once again, sporting an almost 30,000 lead here, ZP for Floormen, showing no signs of stopping. And Pashi, he's kind of like indirectly recovered, right? He's at 26,000 souls. He's ahead of everyone on his opposing team except DMB.
The pause is a sign of stopping. That was actually the ultimate caster curse in a different way. Just so you're aware.
Yeah.
It's showing no signs of stopping, and the game has been paused by Pashi Pop TTV/YT.
I wonder if he streams.
Gee, you think?
I like this this unstoppable for Lord and M. I mean, obviously combo, charge, hook, knock up, swap, like tornado. It really allows Lord and M to stick in towards these lines to fight that he needs to. There's so much disruption on the opposing side that he has to invest into an item like that.
One thing I'm considering right now is just win conditions for melee creeps. The upside for melee creeps is that, you're running Paradox, Bebop, Mo, you have a lot of ways to get kills. The problem is the stat difference becomes a bit of an issue, and again, I may be wrong on this. Like, I really don't know exactly the full strength of the current Bebop builds after the change, but prior to this patch, at least, you didn't love Bebop as a late game. Like, Bebop was a character you picked more for your early to mid game, and same for Mo. Like, they do fall off later in the game, more so than the heroes on Floormen. So from a comp perspective, I just think these fights are going to be really hard unless they open with a pick. But Jason, things are heating up here and now, and it's Paradox under the gun. Scout getting hit with the lasso. The hook coming in from John is potentially a save. Is that enough to clear out Scout? He makes some distance, but still the barrel in from afar, in from Goober. 1 HP and down, slammed. Pashi finishing it off, and the rest of Floormen still in hot pursuit.
Yeah, there's no way John is going to survive this one either. Honestly, I don't see melee creep surviving this game because it keeps going from bad to worse. As we got to give it an AWU from ZP as I carry along here with Lord M transforming once again. Eventually, the AWU will come in from ZP. He'll hear me talking about it, and he'll do it while I'm talking right now, casting this team fight. ZP. There it is. And Florin back away to push out their lanes because they are a little bit impacted here on their middle lane. Well, in the meantime, they bosses respawned in. Probably the worst time for melee creeps to have a fight, though. I think they tried to force up. Well, actually, they didn't try to force something there, right? It was the last side of Goober that forced it.
Yeah, the lasso came in. John tried to save with the hook, and Goober had to move the chase down, land the barrel, and go from there. And you're not going to get any real contest onto the rejuve. 3 rejuves and nearly 50,000 lead for the Floormen. And Jason, I gotta say, I went all in on Floormen this map. Every last drop of channel points, 7,000. I had some multiple bad bets, but let me tell you, the channel points are coming back in force. Assuming Floormen win and don't throw. Like, if they throw here, I will be real sad.
Don't set yourself up for generational sadness here, because it's going to happen.
Okay, if Floormen throw this, I'll just be happy with seeing some great Deadlock in the sense that it's going to be one of the most generational throws of all time. Not losing when 70k up sort of throw, like that's going to be hard to beat. Thank you, Goo Balls, back in the trolley tournament, but it would still be pretty high, Jason.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the only like caveat is that Floormen, it didn't struggle to close out against BWC, because I mean, again, I still say it was a best of one, so they're being extra careful. But kind of like, actually, to be honest, the longer the game goes on, the stronger they get, I think. Pashi is to come online, Lord M's going to become more impactful, League's still going to be more impactful, and the melee creep side, when it comes to late game scaling, what do they really have besides DMB?
I mean, Shiv and Abrams can be scary, but Abrams is so far behind. I mean, Ido's not going to be that big of a threat as the game goes on. But Hook came on into the combo, and the HP bar isn't moving that much. Like, you're putting all this damage into Billy, and Billy's just shaking it off, Jason. Drops Changgang in turn, and the rest of Floormen have showed up to support AVG in his time of need as the middle walker now under siege. Fishcake had the run, couldn't quite get away. 2 more down from melee creeps, and the dive intensifies for the Floormen, looking to put this one away.
All right, CP, the generational sadness is going to turn into generational happiness, man. Saya and DMB left to go. The final walker of the game for melee creeps will fall. They're even going back to run the urn here, man. Like, they could take shrines for sure. They could take stage 1 patron for sure, it seems. And they're that confident they can run the urn while this is happening. The Posh probably going to he's actually cutting the wave out to make sure the walker won't fall instead of going for the urn. This is a huge victory for Floormen, man, because like no team has been able to take down melee creeps. Yeah, they've been able to take maps.
Well,
never
also
the first map though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when they take a map, it's a second map special. This is the first map special. I can't think of the last time melee creeps lost the first map, and maybe the last time they lost the night shift. You have to go that far back. Floormen, though, 3 people kill streaking, an enormous advantage in the game. First shrine down, second shrine soon to join. The melee creeps out of gas, and Floormen showing that this new team composition might have the right stuff, or they're just exercising the rocker effect that we've actually seen quite a bit.
I mean, the last team to beat melee creeps in night shift was Sneaky Golem right after the trolley event that melee creeps won, funny enough. So a number of these players have been able to beat melee creeps before. Looks like Ido having a quick little crash, maybe to get oiled up that he promised. I don't know if you know the backstory of that.
I don't know. Anytime we say oiled up, it just reminds me of the old school, like Mo and Krill 1v1s where, you know, I think we had a period where every caster had said, yeah, they're greased up and good to go or thereabouts. We haven't really said that in a while, but we also, last 2 weeks, we even had Mo's fighting. Where, by the way, really a sincere apology to the Mo Nation. I understand many Mo fans were actually upset by swapping out the Mo 1v1. It is not a permanent change. We're just having some fun with the new heroes. I assure you, Mo and Krill 1v1s are a tradition, and they will return.
I really wanted to have an AWU off between one player of each team, and whoever does the best AWU voted by us gets the choice of first pick, or not.
Look, you just
Who do you
wanted
think would do the best AWU on Floormen and melee creeps if we had to choose someone?
Ooh, the best AWU
I don't know who I choose for melee creeps.
Honestly, I give the John AWU.
Really? I would give
Yep.
it to Saya, man. I recorded that. Remember that game show that we did together of him doing the sound effects in game? Like he's not afraid to look silly.
True.
So he would put his heart and soul into that AWU.
It is an open question. Unlike this
Let us
game,
know in
which
chat who you think.
unlike this game where you know, Jason, it's not too much. Oh, hyperline? Not quite. Real close to the hyperline though. But what about a lasso? A lasso into the hook? Snatch for snatch. John says mine reaches a little bit longer, but the dive in should be fierce here from the Floormen. They got rejuvenators, so even though Goober got caught by the hook, it doesn't quite matter. Gets right back up, instantly takes down Scout. And the second stage of the Archmother soon to fall here, Jason. As now you wonder, is this the weak melee creeps fall? They've lost one map so far.
Yeah, honestly, it's been a very long time since we've seen melee creeps drop a first map in a series. And it really didn't feel that close, too. Once we hit I think it was like the second urn is when things really started to turn around. That decisive play to Floormen to kind of like let the urn go in and take walkers instead ended up netting them some really good lead and really good comeback into that game.
Yeah. And look, I mean, for Floormen, the thing I have to commend more than anything else, and we saw it in game 1, and we saw it here in game 2, they didn't necessarily have the absolute best beginnings, but they didn't get knocked out of the game. I mean, they were playing Deadlock fundamentals very, very solidly. And even losing objectives, they still did the jungle about effectively as you can. They efficiently did box routes. They didn't let the kills spiral out of control. And then they were able to get to a key moment and turn the game. So the resilience of Floormen to not just lose when some things went against them is the part that looks different to me for this composition of players.
I mean, look at Pashi, man. He was poor. He was homeless. I don't know, just get even worse than that for him, because that's what it felt like. He was getting ganked in his own jungle, farming his own jungle. He is able to bounce back in the game with the help of, like, honestly, and I don't want to glaze him, but like Goober, he really was a pillar for them to stand on and to lean on in this game, because he was so effective. He was putting out so much damage. It allowed Poshpop to help catch up, because I think if you look at like kill participation, maybe damage, no shade to him, but I don't think it didn't feel like Lord and M really did much damage in this game.
No, I mean, it was more of a Silver was in the background game. You know, we have missed a few woos in the process, but Silver really wasn't the story in this game. You know, to me, a lot of it came down to plays that Goober was able to make. And also, you think about things that just kept the game through on the latter end. AVG and League were incredibly reliable in the front line. And I don't know, I also think comp-wise, melee creeps kind of had a comp where if the game went this late, it just wasn't going to end well for them. But you take a look here at the final stats, you gotta give a bit of credit to DMB. Was solid on the Mirage, but wasn't enough the way the game went down.
Okay, this makes me feel kind of good, because I was kind of saying it with like no basis that I feel like Lord and M wasn't doing much damage, but you can actually see here he wasn't really doing that much damage. And actually Goober, the one to be reined in first team, beating out on League and Warden. I mean, he was even 6k less than Souls, but obviously being around the map, the participation he was pulling off really helped quite a bit in this victory. And looking across the board, I mean, even Poshipop, ballistic enchantment, he went plated, armor, and bullet resist. Like, he really held back on damage too, because I think he knew League, Lord, and Goober would be enough. That's an interesting build though, to kind of switch things up like that. He really went defensive to, I don't even know what to deal with necessarily. Like, I don't know what the plated was for, because it wasn't like any of them could really kill them that easily.
I think DMD plated, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure plated makes Jin's Mark less effective.
Yeah,
like as far as DMD's, yeah, like That would be the main thing there. I mean, look, Poshy builds are kind of weird. It's either it's a brilliant build that people haven't thought about before, or you look at the Poshy build and you go like, oh my god, what is happening here? You know, a little bit divisive from time to time. But also, I mean, I'll just double down stats-wise. Pretty high damage for a Holiday game, especially Spirit Holiday. You only get to the numbers Goober was at if the barrels are hidden, and they're hidden pretty good. Also, Return to the Cult. AVG, one of the few players still grabbing Cult of Sacrifice, which I think is pretty defensible on Billy. Like, you know, taking a look at, okay, what items are still back in play. You know, you can justify getting Cult here and there. But, man, Jason, I'm still taking in that Floormen, the first team in a very long time to take down melee creeps on map 1.
What? Okay, what did Saya Echo Shard? Was it his pocket sand?
It had to be the disarm. Like, I think when you're going against Warden Silver in particular, having another charge of disarm is actually pretty good. It wouldn't be Scorn. Like, I really don't think it'd be Scorn. Certainly, doing Burrow wouldn't make a lot of sense. Like, by process of elimination, it has to be disarm.
Yeah, I would agree. And yeah, I mean, obviously not necessarily a terrible pickup, but I think one thing for me that Matrix was lacking was just kind of damage. I think having Bebop and Mo and Paradox all together, I think you pointed this out during the show, if you just like replace one of those with the damage dealer, or maybe put like Saya, I mean, obviously Kelvin was banned, so he wasn't able to go for it. I think even Ivy was banned, so he wasn't able to play that. But maybe even like a Page? Would Page have set you up potentially better in this game? Or maybe have like John play a more of a heavy damage dealer, or maybe Scout?
I don't get the Page erasure because, yeah, I mean, Saya went Mo, it's fine, but Page was still available. I think Page probably would have been better, especially you had Abram Shiv, like Abram Shiv Page. I think didn't we see Abrahams play that exact early opening in EU, and it worked out incredibly well. Like, that is a very solid start. Page is just getting a little bit undervalued in an A, from my point of view.
Also, our producer, Mr. Solomon, let us know that the last time Melee Creeps lost a map 1 was in Shift 12. And we're in Shift 24. Coincidence? And it was against Sneaky Golem, but they did eventually win 2-1 in the series. Will history repeat itself, ZP?
We'll have to see. I mean, more than anything else too here, Jason, this is a prize pool at the biggest it's been in a long period of time. The pressure maybe a little bit more on Melee Creeps here after losing map 1, but Jason, that was a long match. We had a lot to talk about. We're going to be taking a break. When we come back, is history in the making? Will Floormen finally unseat Melee Creeps? Stay tuned. It may be soon. Welcome back, everyone, to the night shift, where history may be in the making. After a run of 12 plus weeks in a row, Melee Creeps looking vulnerable to the new Floormen roster. The rocker cycle may be a thing. ZP back here with Jason Kaplan, and Jason, the last map, Goober, could not be denied.
Oh, is he is he a donut for you in this last match?
Yeah, absolutely. Call it as I see it.
What are you gonna do to this donut?
Well, there's a lot of glazing going on right now, Jason, is what you're trying to get out of me. And I'm just going to say he had a good game. That is where it was at. I was trying to get the glaze
out of you. That is true. No one knows what happens in the break. But yeah, very impactful. Honestly, I think we were saying in the break, I hate like talking about him sometimes because it always seems to come off so negative. But like Lord and Silver, it didn't seem to be too effective in terms of like what we've seen in EU or what we've seen in scrims. And even brought up a good point, ZP, of is it even worth like banning or being worried about them getting a silver if it's going to have that same level of effect?
No, I think if you're Melee Creeps, the number one thing that you're looking at in this draft is you hate Holiday. You dislike Westerns. You dislike everything relating to Cowboys. You are banning it. You're getting rid of it. You're either picking it yourself or you are taking it down with the first ban. You don't want to deal with that with the biggest prize pool we have had on the line. It is that simple, and I think that's going to be part of their draft adaptation going forward. Conversely, I think the interesting thing with Silver is that you could argue how effective it was for Lord NM, but I do think, you know, the preferences for Melee Creeps. They also would like to play Silver. Ido thinks the character is the most broken thing ever and had really good performance in scrims. So I think what's likely to come in here, Jason, is that Melee Creeps will go for first pick. And I think Floormen knowing that, well, actually, no. Floormen have first pick. Melee Creeps still wanted to pick second, so...
I want you to flesh out your idea.
Well, I was going to say Melee Creeps would go first pick and Floormen would have to ban, but clearly we're not living in that reality. Instead, Geist is banned first.
I don't see the banning silver. It just, yeah. I mean, what would they ban instead? Like, I don't think it's worth banning Holiday, honestly. Not necessarily, okay. Not worth it, but I feel like maybe Billy would be more of a higher priority ban, or Abrams would be a higher priority ban. Because I mean, you inevitably are going to let him have, like Goober, I'm talking about, Viscous or Holiday are probably going to be like one of the two heroes we're going to see him come out with. And you don't really want to focus your bans on denying him in particular, even though he did look really good on it. You need to secure important heroes for yourself.
Ooh, Jason, we got off guard. We knew that was coming.
Yeah. I just didn't want to do it this time. I wanted to save it. Save it for what? I don't know. But I just wanted to, just relax, just chill a little bit.
If you're Melee Creeps, I kind of feel like, I don't know. On one hand, you could go Shiv Billy, which objectively is very good. However, does Floormen take Holiday in the first half of the draft? I'm trying to think. I don't think they took
a long time for Melee Creeps. Sorry.
Yeah.
What are you standing around for?
The
Let's
Billy
start
makes
breaking
sense.
shit.
Now, I think for Floormen, probably likely to go Yamato. I think if they're going to go Holiday, Jason, they actually do need to pick it right here. Because if they don't pick it here, it's going to be the ban. I feel very confident it's going to be the ban. They go Yamato first. We'll see what they back it up with.
Yeah, I mean, again, like they can float Yamato and a couple different players if they wanted. League and AVG both play it. Do they? Is there a role they look for support in top 3? Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't seen that happen in NA too often today, but they really want to secure the Rocker Rem, and I think for good reason. You wouldn't deny that away from the Chain Gang, like the Billy Rem combo.
I would love if Melee Creeps went with the Page this time around. I mean, you stop and think about bans. Okay, that's the other thing. Kelvin got banned in the mid-stage ban last time around, so they overpicked Kelvin. That is their supported choice over Page. But please, Melee Creeps, we saw what happened last game. You did not have a good time versus Holiday. You need to remove Holiday and then force Floormen to ban Paradox, because you can pick Paradox first. Okay, and they do just that, Jason. So this is a much smarter adaptation for me from Melee Creeps.
Warden's open still too.
Yep.
I'm wondering if they want to take that away. I mean, the Bebop was decent, and they definitely have, I think, more damage behind the team now that maybe the Bebop could be ban worthy here. But also, Goober can play Bebop. Don't forget about that. He was also one of the few gun Bebops we saw back in his very short stint at the top of the meta table.
This is interesting because I don't think Floormen need the ban Warden there. I think the pick was... okay, never mind. I'm wrong. They go Mirage. I wonder if this is just protecting DMB's hero pool and prioritizing Mirage over other things, because I think Paradox was the pick there. Paradox made more sense there to me than Mirage, because I think the odds Floormen doesn't take Paradox in the next 2 is pretty low. They're grabbing Viscous for Goober, and I feel like Paradox is going to be the next one in.
Do you really think they were actually protecting DMB's pool? Because I would have thought if they don't take Mirage, his Infernus still looked really strong these last weeks.
Yeah. I would think so too, but it doesn't really seem like they've been inclined to grab it. And yeah, the cost for going Mirage is that you give a Paradox in turn. I don't love this. I mean, I guess this signals, Jason, that they have to be going for Bebop. It has to be John Bop again. That's the only reason why I think you wouldn't pick Paradox in the last pick, is because you're going to be going for Bebop with your final 2. So Mina comes in, and surely when you think about what is John going to play, it has to be Bebop.
Or...
Don't say Gunabo.
No, could it be the fated John 7? No, it's Bebop. He's just messing with me. I really want to see it. I mean, I like this better though. I mean, he has much better of a supporting cast around him now, with Mina, Mirage, Billy, Shiv, all able to pump out a lot more damage than having a Mo Paradox on your team.
Yeah. No, I mean, overall, the team comp-wise, this makes a lot more sense, and the fact that Saya has also been kind of the GOAT on Kelvin. Sorry, continue.
No, I'm just like, because you have Rem, and we've seen Ivy slot in as a support, like, I mean, a spirit support, so to say. but you're kind of like running inherently two supports with this. So this has to be, I mean, this almost has to be like a gun Ivy, no, for Poshy Pop.
Yeah, because who else is Poshy going to play here?
Yeah, but gun Ivy now in
You can.
this economy?
I don't think it's great. I think it's probably a questionable end to the draft. But you think about other heroes, Poshy plays a lot of Geist, Poshy plays a lot of Warden, Poshy plays a lot of Mirage. I mean, a significant chunk of Poshy's pool did get yeeted by the time we got to this pick. But yeah, I mean, especially in light of some of the gun nerfs, I don't love the Ivy final pick. I think the melee creeps comp is a lot better for me this time around, Jason.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I'm trying to think what potentially could they have picked instead of Ivy or Poshy. Yeah, there's not many options in my head. I'm like thinking I don't think I've ever seen Poshy Pop play Infernus. I almost want to go check my database to see if he's ever played Infernus in any match in DFN or DNS.
I mean, it could have been Poshy on the 7 again. The 7 was available.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a good 7 game, per se.
This looks like it would be a better 7 game because I don't know, like you have like a team who can fight really well together, and then ideally you just can farm. Because I mean, he did eventually get there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like kind of running circles in my head of how this Ivy's going to work out for him.
I think, interestingly enough, I think the last game you had so much space being made by Goober that it didn't really matter how some players played. I actually do think this is going to be more of a limit test onto Lord NM on the silver. Assuming it's Lord NM on the silver again, I think you kind of need max production from everyone on Floormen this time around because this is a much, much stronger melee creeps draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I see melee creeps, like once you get going, it's gonna be very, very steamrolly against you. And again, I mentioned before in the show that Sai's been talking a lot about Kelvin and how strong he thinks he is, especially with the change to Ice Path. It gives you up to 90 spirit power on the max distance of it. And that plus Boundless, you're already amplifying that. Your Frost Grenades just do ridiculous here, not to mention your ultimate, because I think he gets like 2 points in Frost Grenade, then he maxes ultimate, and then he goes back and maxes his Ice Path. He picks up like Fleet Foot for speed to get around the map. Again, very hard to chase on his Ice Path. And I think the Frost Grenade, like the tooltip's going to be wrong, but that with Healing Booster, it was the tooltip saying like 400 or 450, and then it's like healing per second inside the dome was around the same, if not a little bit higher. He was able to pump so much healing that it was very difficult to kind of deal with it. And I'm trying to think on the other side, who would naturally be a carrier of Healbane? I mean, it would be Yamato, right? And it technically could be Ivy as well, but that's almost kind of it on this team. So the anti-heal is going to be a very important factor in this.
Also, I see, looking at chat here while we wait for the players to get ready, as, there's some wait for the players. It's NA. Probably 3 of the people are in the bathroom, as is tradition. People kind of wondering, why not Wraith? Wraith has not really been that favorite of a pick. In terms of carry priority, Wraith is pretty down there. Unlike maybe pubs where Wraith is more likely to hit her ideal conditions, the tempo of Wraith in higher level games has kind of been such that people don't favor her as much. They don't really like her early to mid game relative to what you can get from other heroes that fill a similar role. So while Wraith does get played, Wraith got played earlier today, Wraith is not of the high priority that some of the other heroes are, particularly, the hero that's really gone up in priority today, Jason, Mirage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember all the item changes. I don't remember all the changes to heroes because there's just so much in that, like, small balance change they did. I don't know if there was like indirect buff to him or if there was like a hard buff based off his items or his abilities. I honestly just cannot remember. I think I have a window open so I can read through, but I am also curious to see why Mirage is getting more play today. It's mostly been NA though. I don't remember seeing it in EU, but I could be wrong.
I'm trying to think. I thought it got played. I'm gonna investigate here.
He didn't get changes. Okay, so he in particular didn't get changes, but obviously how the items work around.
Well, he got
potentially be it.
Mirage got hit less bad because he's hybrid damage, right? Between he uses both gun and spirit. So if gun is going to get some of the bigger nerfs, the people that rely more heavily on orange feel it more distinctly than Mirage does. That's why I think Mirage has become a higher priority today relative to before, is that Mirage does more. Sorry, go ahead.
Where's all the Lash been? I just realized, like, we've not seen Lash at all from North America, have we?
I don't think so. And Lash used to be a favorite too. You know, Ido was playing a lot of it. And yeah, I mean, sometimes this just happens as far as meta goes, where, I mean, admittedly, you have 2 extra heroes added, though it's not been a good time for Graves. Graves is... I think the general consensus is that the last round of nerfs might have hit Graves a little bit too hard, and people are just like, nope, not playing her. If they had hit after the patch, you'd probably have seen Graves if she was in her release form.
I asked around, and I could not find a team that scrimmed with her. And this was even before nerfs. I could not find any team scrimming with her. I ended up finding like an Oceania scrim between a team that Disco's on. I don't know their name. I don't think they have a name right now, against Oscar, which is like a melding of Australians and Koreans in a team. And it didn't look good there either, to be fair. And that was from today. Yeah, I think it's sad. I actually really like Graves as like as an idea, but I think as we talked about before with Hoot, or they talked about before with Hoot, that you kind of have to play around her, and it'll take a little bit more time for people to figure out her more.
Well, also, I would expect her to be more popular in Asia and Oceania to begin with, because those regions tend to have more of a focus on macro play, and Graves' entire thing in the end is getting push advantage off her ult. Like, that is her bread and butter. So if you're playing more on macro as your priority, you would have more of a favor for her. But that's an interesting lane. Silver paired with Yamato. I'm thinking about that because normally Yamato is one of your most deadly lanes, but I don't know if Yamato Silver has the synergy you want, because you're going to be getting good poke from Yamato, but you're in a waiting period to get ult on Silver.
But TP, look at melee creeps. Do you see something that I see?
Yo, John's on the Mirage. Scout is on Bebop.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense as far as who's usually in Playmaker, but yeah, normally John flexes that, but instead John's gonna do a little bit of pew on the Mirage.
And then DMB's playing the Billy. I mean, we've seen him play Billy before, so that's not too crazy. And then of course Ido on the Mina too. But yeah, little some switch ups, and I think it's the first time in a long time melee creeps have felt the heat. It's been, what was it? I think I said before, shift 12. So 12 shifts ago, they lost the first map. They eventually won the series 2-1.
For now, applying a bit of pressure here on the left-hand side, where I think one of the lanes had the fall on the silver bullet, as it were. I don't know if you want your Yamato to be here, because if your Yamato gets off to a tough start, you know, that could carry you all game long or be against you all game long. And you look at the HP right now, AVG and Lord NM both getting harassed pretty heavily, although they're able to throw some of it back at DMB. It's both sides a little bit wounded after that last exchange.
Lee coming in for a gank though already on his box route. Next to connect Carbine, it's enough to get the kill into Saya. The Floormen again off to a decent start. More importantly, getting Lord and M off to a decent start here by ganking his lane.
NA's been big on this today. 2 minutes hit and people start roaming, which I personally think is probably the right way to play the game. The thing that's been said is that boxes should be an incentive to gank. They should not be the end goal, as people have often been treating them.
Mm-hmm. That's good. You know, I like how you put that, actually. That's a good way to put it. I was talking to some, I think I was talking to Ido, and I think he was in a similar note as what you're saying. That it's just, he liked it box running at first, I think because he was the one to show people to do it in NA. His words, not mine. But it's become more of like a chore now.
So, decision time for League. League, okay, is going to go back over the middle. But then they've gone up to left. It said DMB's real low after the ball, but decides to go back in. Has support here from Kelvin, but they're so low, and DMB's going to go down. That was a questionable double down, and Kelvin, Rosaya, maybe paying the price here. Carbine got connected. By the way, he's back. Oh, man. League has just decided we hate this lane in particular, but what's the price to be paid here, Jason? Where, okay, you're pulling League over to make the silver Yamato lane do well. Are you paying a price in middle for this, though?
I mean, it's Goober, right? I don't think this is wasted farm on him, to be fair. And I think you also put Lord and M in a better position, him and AVG in a better position to dominate their lane. I mean, look at Sai, he's at 1.9k souls. The thing is, not only are you helping Lord and M and AVG have a stronger early game, but you're also denying Saya. And I already talked before about how strong his Kelvin can be, so it's kind of a massive win-win for them constantly ganking this lane.
Well, so far, it made what could have been a tough lane a lot more palatable so far. As buffs are coming up soon, not so soon that you'd expect to be camping them, just a bit of box running going on for DMB and Saya together. Maybe running into a little bit of assault here as it's Lord NM chasing down to an extent in on the left-hand side.
Well, 15 seconds from buffs now. The Floormen are set to take both technically. A scout just going to leap on over with the air event as well as Ido to secure the right-hand side. Might even be able to get left here too because it's just Lord M to defend against 3 players. Kelvin in hot pursuit for this one. And I think Melee Creep's got both. I don't know how they specialize in this so well, but I don't think I've seen any other team take double buffs as often as they do.
They also went to overload the right-hand side after securing buffs. They pulled 1 from mid. You got 3 here on the right-hand side, and Ivy is getting the chase down, but Poshy Pop's actually pretty okay. Didn't take too much damage from Ido in on the dive. And elsewhere, Saya just gets crunched on the left-hand side, so the allocation from Floormen was a lot better here, Jason.
Poor Saya, he just cannot get a break. Dive still coming through. Looking for that kill over onto DMB, but he does play this one safe, but still the damage has been done, man. Saya only at 2.5. He's being just like giga focused in this game. It's blowing my mind actually to see how much presence they're consistently shoving onto this lane to deny him.
Well, in particular, the fact they haven't paid a price for it in middle. Goober's actually been fine. In fact, Goober's been living his best life. He's pretty darn wealthy at this point, 5.1k. But here on the left-hand side, things are getting hot and heavy once more. Maybe time to drop in a woo. Lord and M gets a little bit more damage in.
That was a woo.
Yeah.
That was funny. Torment Pulse. What? Like, holy crap. Amy just went straight to Torment Pulse in this lane. Extra regen, healing right, Torment Pulse. I don't think I've ever seen a Yamato build that as like a 3rd item.
It's definitely a quick rush. That much is for sure. Also, we didn't really talk about, but in terms of, rotations, now it's just Mirage in middle. You had Bebop being a bit of a pain in the butt over on the left-hand side, and now rotating back over in the middle. So the rotations from Melee Creeps, they haven't really hit pay dirt here so far, Jason.
No, they've not really been able to replicate the success Scout has started things off with. Or even John the last game, honestly. Remember Lord and M constantly being punished. Or sorry, it wasn't the last game. It was Cool Cheese doing that to Lord and M. The Bebop in our first game of the day here for North America with that early rush towards slowing Hex. Great Arcade Surge picked up for Goober too. Nice hook comes through just as we talk about him. Scout connects onto AVG. The shot transformation gonna get the survivability for now. Gets locked in the frozen shelter out of sight, who finally gets Sultan online, and AVG will fall here. 9 HP. They do finally turn this one around, but here comes Lord and M, and the Awoo's coming out in chat as he gets a dash parry once he get onto DMB.
Might have to hear that woo back over and spawn, as it was not the most effective like a curse this time around. Saya support fully online. It took a while, but eventually you get there, no matter how much the other team is trying to keep you down. However, the off the spawn directly is going to be AVG. And Saya, that's a job well done. Go back to base, get healed up. A little bit of redemption, and Jason, 2 minutes ago until earn 34k is the center spawn.
I see the enemy.
Yeah, looking at this, I'm honestly, I think if you're like Ido, Fish, or John, you're kind of like okay with this right now, because like only Goober's been really able to excel past you, and it's not too far, and your lanes have been relatively uninterrupted. It's only been Saya and DV who have been under so much pressure, and Saya mostly feeling the brunt of it. So even with this like strong start of Floormen, it hasn't really netted into anything actually, and it's kind of allowed like the freedom of farm for the rest of Melee Creeps. So it actually might work out against them because they're not interacting with these other lanes.
Yeah, I mean, overall too, I think a lot of what Melee Creeps was doing was kind of saving what was going to be a tough lane. League had great ganks, but things are heating up now. Jason in on the left-hand side. Rotation over here from Fishcake. As AVG's getting real low. The knives may not be what they used to be, but you're certainly in killing blow range now. as Shiv is able to finish the kill in on the left-hand side. DMB gets League at the same time, so 2 down from Floormen as melee creeps start to hit their stride.
Like I said, things are heating up in this lane, but I don't think they've ever cooled down. CP, this is where all the action's been in this game, man. The wave wasn't there, so they couldn't take the Guardian, but melee creeps able to still pick up kills as Goober closes out on Desaya. And we are approaching the urn, like you said, and also the next set of buffs. Melee creeps got both last time. I cannot imagine, and I hope they don't cast a curse that they're able to do that another time here, especially looking on this right-hand side of the map already.
Well, more likely than you might think. 15 seconds left until buffs continue to hit as melee creep's doing a reasonable job of defending the left-hand side. They've allocated 3 over there now. Mina camping out for the buff. And Ido doesn't have much competition for it either. They're full stacking on the left-hand side. Melee creeps, they're going to get both buffs again, Jason.
What? Should I just not talk? Like, I mean, I guess they put more priority on the urn, but you can transition from... I guess they didn't have people in position to contest the left-hand side where the urn was going to be spawning. But we know these two teams like to battle, especially when it comes to the pickup.
Also, there's no nap time. Rocker had to use nap time a little bit earlier, so it's not usable here on the intercept. Saya picking up the urn. Urn rotated over here now to DMB as Goober rolls on in a bit disruption, but I don't know if much is coming of this here so far. I mean, okay, you're hitting Saya repeatedly. You're going to get at least one and the Guardian, but in exchange, melee creeps are making the fast break here with the urn towards middle. Okay, Goober is on the case, though.
He's hit.
It is not a free urn whatsoever, as the entirety of Floormen, they are just hot chasing this urn, but a lead is still being had by DMB, and DMB may have the fast break all the way to the urn turn-in.
I think they're letting it go to take the Guardian instead. They have Scout caught out. They should net themselves another kill. They have another Guardian they can take, so this is actually a pretty big win here. I think you'll be happy to let the urn go from this. It's all about what happens after the urns turn in. What happens after you get this Guardian down? Will you get caught out? The frozen shelter comes through, it catches that Lord, and enemy's gonna fall. League's already low. So melee creeps, once again, just like in the last game here in this series, did the exact same thing and end up catching out Floormen and netting themselves a win.
It's definitely looking good for melee creeps, especially given the fact that you think about how these comps are going to scale. I like the scaling more so out of melee creeps here so far. They're in a great spot. Fishcake is starting to get ahead of the game. John, it was a bit quiet this game, but accumulating farm all the while. The win conditions are pretty significant and varied for melee creeps at this point in the game. Even though you look at it and go, oh, it's only a 5k aggregate lead. No, I think Floormen are in intense trouble right now, Jason. If they're not able to generate a win on the next urn, it could be out of reach.
Well, okay, let's yeah, I agree, but we also can't forget about what happened in the last game, because the same play happened. Melee creeps got the urn. Floormen overextended their stay, trying to take a walker in the left-hand lane, and they got punished. Exact same thing happened here, overstaying their welcome in the mid lane when it came to the Guardian. Ido able to open up a kill onto League as the chase, well, it was coming out of AVG, and I think he's going to turn tail and run away from this as quick as he possibly can, though Goober's still trying to fight off 2 players himself. In the meantime, Sai's pushing down a walker on the right lane. Not the person I would have thought I'd be saying, but he's getting some damage done to it.
And melee creeps is doing quite well in this fight here. Maybe they end up losing John, but the rest of it is going quite well. AVG super low towards the end. The airdrop has to come out to get people off and away, and it's still not enough to make full clearance. AVG falling in the end. And by the way, can we get a build check-in on Pashi? Is he actually going Gun Ivy in this situation? We haven't really looked at it this game or talked about it. I'm curious what Pashi is building here, and yeah, it's Gun Ivy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we haven't... I think the last time I saw this, OCs was playing it. And that was in the Trolley tournament, the Trolley Open that we had. Or like maybe like a week after, I don't know.
It's been a while.
Since, yeah, she was gutted and immediately thrown off a bridge.
I think the build is still viable. I just don't think it's optimal, and I really don't think Floormen went into this draft thinking that they would end on Gun Ivy. I think they thought they were going to get something else for Pashi to play, and it hasn't worked out that way. So
yeah, and you brought up a good point too, because normally the M1 heroes we see now are like tanky M1 heroes who come online earlier. Like Warden comes online around 25k. Same with Viscas, because you get Lucky Shot, or you get Blast Cannon, and then you get Lucky Shot or Vamp Burst. But like Gun Ivy doesn't come online at 25k. She more needs like 35k to be that level of effectiveness. And even then, I think you need a little bit more than that to be that level of effectiveness.
AVG caught out again the last few minutes. Kind of rough for the Yamato. And I'll say this much in terms of hero comfort. It's been a quiet game for Lord NM on the silver. As, oh man, shifting over in the Ido. Ido viciously and vigorously defending the Sinner Sacrifice. Oh. Over and in. This could be a reasonable spot in Florida, but you're fighting inside the frozen shelter, and you just may be outgunned, silver or no. And yeah, that was the world's shortest scream back to spawn. There are limits even when you're a werewolf.
You got parried too, trying to go for the life strike heal. Buff spawning in 3 times in a row now in this game. Melee creeps have gotten both buffs and immediately going for the urn. Trying not to allow Floormen to go for the contest whatsoever to make sure to get it in the right hands and run it across. See rapid recharge picked up here for Saya with healing booster. Goober's back on the hunt here, back on the chase, but yeah, I don't think he can close that distance.
If he goes for it, he's going to have to do the long wraparound, but at this point, you look at who can intercept the urn. You're looking more towards Pashi. You're looking more towards Rocker, but the way things are positioned right now, I mean, if melee creeps want to, they could just... Okay, they have to go in the enemy territory for the urn, so it's a little bit more complicated. Like, your Floorman is going to have a bit of time to set up.
Yeah, no shelter either, so I don't really think you want to fight this. I think shelter's just too important to have.
I tend to agree. I think if you're melee creeps, you could stall this out, but they feel powerful enough that they just want to take the fight. No shelter, no problem. And they just don't get in. The intercept is not there. The nap time comes out from Rocker, but it's really late, Jason. It's after the urn has already been thrown in, and sure, off the nap time, you get down Saya. Your best hope now, trying to get a few consolation kills on the chase down. Are you going to be able to find it? Certainly, they're hoping for it. In come the Floormen. They're trying to do something to even this out. They land the swap towards the very end. Could be one more added to the deck here in off the stone for him. Bebop, nowhere to go. And that's a long death timer here, too. 23 seconds at this point in the game. Do they go mid-boss? I mean, that'd be a really gutsy mid-boss at this point. I don't think they're going to go for it.
That'd be like giga gutsy. Just like someone trying to steal away farm from AVG here. That is a very early investment, a counterspell to John. The fights just continue. I mean, losing 1-2 players for melee creeps isn't the worst world for them. I think it's pretty much netted out to exactly what it was before in terms of like difference in souls as a comeback mechanics.
You know, Jason, even if they lost a few K in it, that's still a big benefit to potentially giving up a comeback urn.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, if you're melee creeps, you're pretty happy with that. John, back in from spawn, doesn't land the second hook, but does leave League with a significant debt of damage.
Oh, you're John pill. That's Scout, man. That's not John.
What in the world? Yeah, I am John pilled. Honestly, it's melee creeps and it's Bebop, man.
Don't worry.
Old habits.
Because John wouldn't have missed that hook. That's how I knew it wasn't him. Nah.
John might miss that hook. He hasn't had that much Bebop time in recent memory. You got to get into the groove of Bebop. Nope. This hook, though, not going to be missed. AVG pulled in one more time. Return fire popped early in shout transformation. They take the win and leave. They're actually okay just getting the cooldown, Jason.
I see Ivy.
Oh, are we going to see a burger flip at mid now? Because they have shout transformation gone and they have shelter.
Wouldn't be the worst burger to be flipped. I don't know if that's going to be the melee creep style. You've done this to yourself.
We saw burger flipping in EU. Normally it's an NA thing, but...
Well, it's also at times an EU thing. Like Abraham's was definitely one of the connoisseurs of, hey, all your people are still alive. We're going to go for mid anyways. Screw you. Sort of shot calling. But for now, 11,000 lead in favor of melee creeps. And we haven't talked too much about the allocation part, but it's a little bit scary for Floormen. The front line of melee creeps here, 20k Shiv and 18k Billy, and still getting just peppered by a pretty farmed Mirage on top of it. The allocation isn't near exactly where you'd want it to be for melee creeps.
Yeah, they're going to be very happy with this. Decay picked up for Fish Cake too. Looking at Saya. Yeah, the rapid recharge I mentioned before, but he does have the Fleet Foot picked up now, so he can run quicker on his ice path. It's already rank 2 as well. I mean, when that thing hits like max rank, I think then you're going to start to see melee creeps look for more and more fights. It's just the amount of spirit power you get from that is crazy. And I'm assuming he's going to be saved up for Boundless now too, if not Refresher. But I think he does Boundless before Refresher. And a Ricochet for Poshy Pop with Tesla?
I don't have faith in the Ivy turning these fights. I think draft-wise, what Floormen is dealing with is that I don't think Silver is getting played to max potential yet. I don't think Ivy was at all the hero that Poshy wanted coming into this draft.
Let's push
And
both ways.
realistically, they need League to open with a good swap and, you know, have a really good positional outplay to start things off. And AVG just keeps getting isolated. Has to go Shadow Form immediately in off the hook, trying to make the most of it here and the damage on John John, but I don't think there's the support to make this a successful dive. Just get a little bit of value off the Shadow transformation and leave off of the hook. Goober. And drop the goo ball here. Melee creeps though looking to swarm over and in. Navy G is going to be priority target number 1. Low HP and gone. He's been the focus fire early on in all of these fights, Jason.
I mean, that's 2 Shadow transformations in a row he had to use defensively and not even use it to fight. And without Shadow transformation, without him alive, there was the thought of going for a mid boss. And they technically still could go for it here, just waiting for the reinforcements to come through.
That would have been wild if they went for mid boss and said, "Sorry, just turn in the urn. Ignore us and turn in urn while I go for." Instead, it is a full contest, perhaps waiting in the wings. They won't have AVG, but they're going to open up here with nap time as Rocker to slow things down here into the pit. It's not going to be enough chaos though. Fishcake goes in, punishes Rocker for the nap time attempt, and the rest are going up the tunnel. And you still leave John John in on the mid boss. No, John John's leaving too. You have the rest chasing him away. Jason and the mid boss should be free.
That's Scout CP.
Why do I keep doing this? It's unbelievable.
I just want to hear you get more frustrated because you keep doing it.
I know.
But they get it nonetheless. They force them back. I mean, the sleep, I thought if you were going to sleep, you probably would want to do it when you're trying to steal it. But I guess maybe trying to just keep them off the mid boss.
3 rejuves and melee creeps. You know? Melee creeps, they used to be map 2 merchants. This time around, they dropped map 1, but they've come back stronger than ever in on map 2, Jason. And the win conditions for Floormen just get lower and lower, or rather, the amount gets lower and lower as time goes on. And, you know, part of that, too, is that Yamato is really good at the moment as far as, you know, one of your better scaling heroes in the game. AVG has rarely gone out of these fights alive. I mean, he's been target number 1 for getting solo domed, for getting hooked in by Scout, not John John, for getting hit by John John on the Mirage, you know, you name it.
It's rough for him because it's him and Lord M who have to dive, and then they have to hope that Poshy Pop's gonna have damage, but he's just not gonna have damage right now in the game to like facilitate this. So he's been having to play super defensive with all of his ultimates. You see it used to here yet again. I mean, it's gonna do some damage, yes, but not nearly enough for them to kill anyone. Even Poshy Pop's forced immediately back to help with the tag along. And that was like a 4-on-6. 5-on-6, I should say.
It's getting grim. I mean, now the lead has ballooned to 20,000, and there's a lot of time left on this rejuve, Jason. Like, over the next 2 minutes, and oh man, if Scout had hit that, that would have been kind of unreal. But over the next 2 minutes, you're going to get jungle control for melee creeps. You're going to get likely another walker. Like, I can't imagine they don't get a walker given the fact they still have 3 rejuves in the bank. And at that point, as Floormen, you're looking at being over 30,000 down, maybe even 35, 40,000. It's almost too much to come back from at this point. Oh, that was a good attempt.
It's such an interesting fight too, because they have fights in all 3 lanes. I'd hate to be an observer right now. They're trying to like force, it was like AVG. A 3-on-3 in mid, a 1-on-1 left lane, a 1-on-2 right lane. I can't even tell anymore, but we do see the first rejuve fall. The Awoo comes in out of Lord and M, but there's the Traveler away, forces 2 players to the right-hand side, and then they are able to overstack in towards middle, or do they? John John going to be getting caught out here, chased down by 3 players. There's still 2 rejuves left to go. It's not necessarily all safe here for melee creeps.
Chase down, running out of gas. John looking to buy a little bit of time, close quarters here in the bebop. Trying to just get uppercuts, the delay, hook, or rather Scout, hook in on, and Scout's okay with it. Still, it's a rejuve charge gone, but gonna get right back up, and in exchange, you're gonna potentially get Lord NM here on the silver. Oh, the mind games! Not enough to save Lord NM, but I appreciate the attempt.
I'm taking their team apart brick by brick.
Good movement here out of Saya too. Buying time for DMB to fly on in to help him out. And we should be seeing like Walker 2 fall. There's still one rejuve left, and Lord NM's dead. Looks like they'll be able to overpower on the right-hand side, and Melee Creep's going to continue to extend this lead. 26,000 right now. And if you're Floormen, I feel like you almost have to just force a fight in mid right now, realizing that they backed away from mid to overwhelm the right-hand side. But it might work against them, as you can see Ido on the minimap there, ready to turn around and fight.
Thought experiment. How do you kill a Shiv and Billy with Kelvin support when your highest damage is a 26k Ivy and a 20k Yamato?
You don't for like another 5 to 10 minutes. And you probably still don't after that.
Is the game still gonna be going in 5 to 10 minutes? I mean, the game has gotten out of hand, and with the comp that Floormen have, you can't kill the front line of melee creeps. And this is also, by the way, why it was kind of ridiculous to me that when you got Shiv Billy in the previous game, that you don't back it up with something like a Page. Okay, Kelvin may be your favorite support as Saya goes, but Page can do the same thing. But this time around, at least you do have a support that is working with it, and it's made Fishcake and DMB pretty tough to deal with in this game. And for Floormen, this is gonna be one of their final opportunities to try and make anything happen, as they see the chase down here in progress, and hey, they're able to get DMB. Window of opportunity here perhaps, but the way Melee Creeps have been playing, they still may want to fight this.
Oh, Awoo's out in chat yet again here. See Lord NM dive in straight for Saya, who does have frozen shelter, so you just have to be careful about how you fight him or how you want to fight around him. They've stolen away the urn. Now ideally you back away from this one, but Goober's been trapped inside the dome. It's not a goo dome, it's a frozen dome, as Goober is slowly being whittled away from the knives out of Fishcake. Everbeam coming in out of Scout. Might be able to get the return kill onto Rocker as he tries to back away, and onto Goober here. So Melee Creeps, they lose the urn, but they salvage it into 2 kills after losing DMB in a very quick fashion. And now this mid lane Guardian is not looking too healthy.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that anything they gain from the urn is about to be lost in the kills they're about to give up and the losing middle walker. I don't think they really gain on this. If anything, for Melee Creeps, they kind of like how this panned out, because they get another objective off the map to continue getting map control. And yeah, and Raw Souls, it got a little bit closer, but now you got rid of Midwalker, which is the hardest one to deal with. And you're really set up well to just go and get a gank or two right before mid-boss, go mid-boss, end game. It's a really tough spot for Florin to be in at the moment. What?
Friendly,
That's trolling.
Friendly.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's trolling. Like, what is going on here from Scout?
I got scared for a second, actually. I had to like make sure to double check who's on whose team.
No, I saw the troll. I mean, that's just farming Ido for his own stream content. I don't know. There's no tactical benefit to that, Jason, whatsoever, than just making Ido stream.
Well, don't worry. He got his money's worth back, because Saya kept the wave away from the Walker, then left so Ido can get all the free farm himself. What a true support. What a true legend here out of Saya. A true gentleman, a scholar. I mean, he's a teacher, so scholar fits.
Also, John might have taken control of Wyoming in the last little bit. Just look at allocation. When did John get up to 39,000? Well, it's Mirage's goal. It's Mirage's goal to get control of Wyoming.
Really? In the game? That's the word?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That makes sense.
I mean, it's just basically they need a homeland. They figure it's like, guys, you have no use for Wyoming. Wyoming, like, just come on.
Why would you want to take Wyoming? Like, why not take like California or?
Well, because they know they're not going to get California, but they figure with enough money that, sure, they give up Wyoming.
Headed to York.
I got $10.
And, hey, look, in today's economy, sold.
I mean, Floormen, they're keeping themselves really grouped here, realizing that a fight could break out any moment. And honestly, what a fight is kind of what they need. And considering mid-boss is now up, they have to stay in this vicinity, leaving Goober to go farm the left-hand side. And I think this is where it gets really rough, because Melee Creeps are in the driver's seat, so they can kind of determine when mid-boss is going to start or not. which makes it easier for them to freely farm. You can see like John on the side with Mirage farming up the right-hand side. Ida was farming jungle. Now the go time has been pushed as DB goes in with the chain gang, able to at least catch out League into a bad position. But there's the frozen shelter locking DMB out. Not necessarily wants to be the dome that's going to keep his team healthy.
Nap time, I don't think it's getting too much done here. I mean, yeah, it takes Shiv out for a little bit, but he's woken up, he's refreshed, he's ready for action. Chases down Rocker right thereafter. 2 down here so far for the Floormen, and the timing could not be worse for the Floormen, Jason, because mid-boss just came back up. 3 cleanly down melee creeps. The path to victory, it's pretty obvious at this point. Grab mid-boss and take down the rest of the objectives.
Yeah, take us to a map 3 and avenge themselves from losing the first map in this series. A record-breaking $2,500 in the prize pool, so $1,250 thereabouts to be won. And yeah, I see no signs of them stopping. I mean, John's 42k. No one, only one person's breached 30k on Floormen's side, and that's Poshy Pop, and he's still not even close to being online yet. It should be a done deal, honestly, ZP.
Yeah, this would be one of the greatest throws ever if melee creeps ended up losing this. It would also cement them as the greatest map 2 merchants in the history of Deadlock if they weren't already. Oh, come on, that's illegal. You can't give vitality buff to a Shiv that's already ahead of the game. It's not fair, Jason.
Maybe Shiv wants Wyoming, and he's going to offer up his vitality buff.
You know what's funny with Shiv? How much do you have to nerf this guy for him not to be picked in comp? Like we talked a little bit about earlier, but his knives got hit with nuclear missile nerfs. And Shiv is still top pick, and Shiv is still a force of nature in competitive play. No one who's picked him early has felt bad about it.
Make it so when you get a killing blow, you have like 10 seconds to use the next killing blow. Otherwise, it goes on cooldown. Boom. I just solved Shiv.
Or you just go back into a lesson that Dota inadvertently learned at the beginning. Maybe killing blow needs a little bit less range. Axe wasn't exactly lopping off hits from range, at least when I played Dota. You had to get on top of people.
But make it a skill shot.
That would be cool. I'm generally in favor of making most things a skill shot. I realize why.
Decay has to be a skill shot. Decay is such BS that you just get to point and click and like take off like 20% of someone's health. Agree, disagree?
No, I agree. But also I think we're in a game where you think about the developer roots that you may wake up one hero release and you know, a version of Lina could get added and you just think you're existing in lane and you know, Laguna Blade heads your way and it's like, oh, my HP is gone.
I don't know who Lina is.
Really high burst damage, like one ability.
I know is the girlfriend of Reginald from TSM, or was back then. That's it.
See, that goes for me is like, I don't know the league deep. It's like, wait, I don't know this part of esports history, but it may be for the better. Either way, Jason, melee creeps are in to what should be the final push. Pretty enormous difference between the two teams, and another hook from Scout. Not John, because John is on the Mirage, the 2-for-1, as League finds no reprieve, and the Shrines now find themselves under assault.
Scout is no longer Scout. He is Scout.
Yes.
When he's on Bebop.
And then if he keeps up the good performances, he can become Scout 69.
No. He would become Scout 67.
I was too classy for that, and you brought us down.
How long have you known me? I'm not classy.
No, I know, and as soon as I heard you say no, I'm like, oh god, he's actually going for the 67.
I put pineapple on my pizza. Come on, I can't be classy.
Yeah, I mean,
I know good food.
I mean, that's dangerous. So you could get deported for that in Italy.
Oh, I thought he was going to do for the truck trick. Just kind of bait them in and hide out. But, I mean, honestly, Floormen have no real way of contesting this. You can try to take out Shiv all you want here, Goober, but the game is telling us a different story as the patron will inevitably fall here. There's some melee creeps around with 3 Rooters left to take a ridiculous comeback here for Floormen to have any chance to defend this patron. And the Hidden King, not so hidden anymore. Sid comes out, but there's a frozen shelter to the side to keep his team healthy and to keep them alive, more importantly. And ZP, we're going to a game 3.
Game 3 is confirmed, and if melee creeps are going to lose the throne, they're not going to do it in a sweep. That much is for sure, as Lord NM some choice words, not being happy with E-Shift at the very end of the game. All in all, though, Melee Creeps, a big bounce back. And, truthfully, Jason, I just think back to even the draft, and the draft looked good for Melee Creeps. We called it then, and it kind of stuck to the script thereafter.
Yeah, and I think this could be Melee Creeps, wanting to really farm the ad revenue, because I think 5 of them stream together when they play in Night Shift, and let's go to another map just so we can keep hitting that roll ad button. But I mean, to be fair, their comp was much better in the draft this time. They had way more damage across the board in the team. John got really far ahead when it came to Mirage, but they didn't even need him to necessarily get too far ahead because the rest of the team was really doing the work. And considering how heavily they got punished with caster mines back to the start of that game, in that left-hand lane, I think it was, yeah, Saya, he got punished time and time and time again. So did DMB. But that means no one else in the team was being messed with. Like Ido, John, Fishcake, they all had free lanes at that point.
Yeah, and again, I kind of think back to where this went awry, even with League able to do some really good early game rotations. I was not a believer in this team comp. I think the two things that really stood out to me as things that were tough. I think the Amato was fine, but AVG was clearly priority number 1, and Melee Creeps did a great job of just making sure AVG was a non-factor. But no one was able to step up in the place of all the AVG focus that was going on. I don't think from what we've seen so far that Lord NM is 100% comfortable on the Silver, to the point that Silver should be a first pick priority for Floormen. And if that's the case, and you don't want the other team to play it, you probably should ban it. I think they probably should ban Silver to not give up an Ido Silver, but also not have to play it themselves. That's number 1. Number 2, I think the draft got away from them. I really don't think they wanted to end up with Pashi on the Ivy. I think it was not great. Also, in terms of stuff where I think they maybe got a little bit greedy in the draft, I mentioned it mid-draft, Jason. I think they should have picked Holiday before mid-stage bans. I think it was the most obvious thing in the world that Holiday was going to get banned based on what Goober did in the previous map. And while his Viscous is good and looked good back in game 1, his Holiday looked even better and was the key reason why Floormen were able to win map 1. So I think Floormen need to put a higher priority on the Holiday for sure.
I mean, I think there's also a world where you could just not ban Geist and Warden, and you leave more options open for Pashi Pop. Instead, just turn the table on something else. Maybe focus out on like a Shiv ban instead. Maybe Calvin's worthy of a ban. I mean, obviously we did have Abrams banned out in this last game too. But yeah, I mean, if you kind of as you're saying, you kind of put yourself in a corner with how the draft went for Pashi Pop. I mean, 35,000 souls, 25,000 player damage. You had Ricochet, you had Hollow Point, you had Capacitor, you had Toxic Bullets, but it didn't really have much damage. It felt like it didn't really have much damage. And that's not necessarily directly on him. It's also because the enemy team was 60k ahead of him.
Yeah, I think though Floormen, they're experienced enough that they should be able to bounce back. And I think game 3 may be setting up to be our best game yet. Also, just raw stats coming on in. Saya is at home in the cold. A lot of healing being pumped up by Kelvin, kind of reminding you, yeah, this hero is still actually pretty good, even if most of the rest of the comp scene doesn't like playing anymore. And Ido got a comfort pick in Mina. I think while Ido isn't really someone that's locked into a specific hero pool anymore, I think he's versatile enough not to get banned out. Some things are not necessarily alike the others, and one of the things that is really, really good for Ido is Mina. It has been for a long time, and generally speaking, Melee Creeps are comfortable if they're able to mix in a comp where Ido can comfortably play the Mina.
Yeah, and obviously, all the players now have a little bit of time to think some things over before we do get started with the next banning, or next draft, I should say. But I forgot, because I stream Monday through Friday from 12 to 5 p.m. CET. I had someone ask me a question. What would it take to get me to say something to you on air, ZP? And I told him you have to sub. He subbed. So I have to do my due diligence here for Aero Mayo, which I don't think they're here, but at least I know I did say it. He wanted me to say, guess what, chicken butt, to you.
That's it?
Yeah,
what is what I'll say in response.
I don't know. I did my job. I'm happy. I can go to bed, without any worry in my mind. But the only thing I'm thinking about right now is what's going to happen on the other side of this break, because we do have Melee Creeps pushed to the brink here, looking much cleaner in map 2 than they did in map 1. Floormen looking for the first title in over 14 weeks. Let's see what's going to happen on the other side of this break.
It's a night shift where the melee creeps may bleed, but they can also bounce back. ZP here with Jason Kaplan as we head into what could be, well, what will be the final map here today in NA. One team's gonna walk away with our biggest prize pool we have ever had. The other team is just going to wonder about the possibility of what could be. Jason, it's been a ride so far.
It's been a ride. I've been on duty, roaming around some streams, really, yelling at people with the unauthorized watch parties. And Dichi, I'm looking at you, Rev. No, I'm just kidding. It's been a wild ride, man. Like, EU's had some exciting games. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but I'm gonna do it in like 5 seconds. So if you don't want to hear it, mute. But seeing Loki W, man, seeing like Listic and Shari come back into Night Shift was phenomenal. It was so cool to see. And also they put up such a good fight in the first map against Abrahams. And now over here in North America, still a really exciting first game of the day with Floormen. Eventually closing out a game that they were inevitably gonna win, but looks so good in map 1 here against melee creeps.
Yeah, and I mean, look, from EU to NA, today's just been pretty awesome. But we still got one more draft to go, and we'll see if lessons have been learned. I was saying it in the break here, Jason, but the change I want to see from Floormen, ban silver, don't pick it. Or don't even pick it, just let melee creeps get it. Either way, I don't want to see Floormen play silver again in this next draft.
I was gonna say, because if you don't pick it, like even if you're not, if you're first pick, you don't pick it, melee creeps are gonna pick it. So yeah, I mean, but if you do that, that does free up John quite a bit, who's been targeted quite heavily with the bans today. So who knows how that's gonna shake some things up.
Also, I don't know, maybe stop trying to target John and hero bans. Like, it doesn't work. Like, it really doesn't. You have to go really far back in the past to find a time where that was a winning strategy. And they showed here that they were willing to go, you know what? It doesn't always have to be John on the Bebop. Even though it's going to mess with the casters, it's going to mess with those at home who see melee creeps and go, I can't wait to watch John on Bebop, and it's actually Scout. No, you could throw John on the Mirage, which if you go far enough back, Jason, used to be one of his most played characters.
Yeah, I think he's got the deeper hero pool. I think we give a lot of crap about, not having a deep hero pool past Bebop and Warden, but he's definitely been working on things quietly. He just doesn't really have the opportunity to play him that often. And then he has to remind us once in a while that, yeah, I can still play Mirage. I can still play some other things. I can still play Bebop if needed. And he's been an important factor for their success so far today. But I'm trying to think, like, who in the back of my head, if I were to crown an MVP from melee creeps so far in this series, I don't really know who I would give it to, actually. Like, DMB hasn't really stood out too much. Maybe Fishcake?
Possibly Fishcake. Also, I think in the game they won, you could make a pretty strong argument for Saya. I think Saya came in incredibly clutch on Kelvin in multiple angles, despite the rough start. And also the part that it's something a little bit unprecedented. Not something I would have thought you would say in Deadlock months ago, but Saya is kind of the last remaining Kelvin thus far. And it's not just that you see melee creeps playing the Kelvin, they still play it really, really well. And I think that's also something to celebrate about how Saya's been playing. And it was one of the biggest differences in the last game, the fact that they had that level of support. Now, why melee creeps is allergic to going Page or prioritizing Rem, I don't really know. But they made the adjustment, Jason, where normally they pick the Kelvin later in the draft, and they picked it early to avoid the mid ban.
Yeah. I mean, same with Rem, right? We had Rem picked in top 3, where in the first map it was picked after the turn. So we're seeing a big change up in how they're approaching the draft here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it continue the same way, honestly, with how this game's going. I think it's more of like, what's Florin going to ban this time? Because they also don't have first pick. So you would have to assume it's going to be a silver ban.
Yeah, and that was their own choice. They decided that they didn't want first pick, even though they picked first pick at the beginning of the day. So if form follows that they recognize they're not doing that well in silver, but they also fear Ido silver, in theory, sad awoo noises are about to be happening here, Jason.
Is killing me.
Oh. Okay, this makes sense though. Like, in terms of what we were expecting Floormen to adjust to, given what we've seen, this was the best first ban they could do.
So you need a monster hunter.
Well, if it ain't broke, why fix the ZP? They get the Shiv again. Is this 3 games in a row they've had Shiv?
I believe so.
Yep. Well, this is a little bit rough. I I mean, do you think Melee Creeps are actually gonna like pick something for John in top 3 this time, considering he's been kind of like focused for the majority of this game or series?
I mean, it's possible. They wouldn't necessarily need to, but top 3 Warden wouldn't actually feel that out of the question. Also, Geist is still available, and Floormen should take Geist. If Geist has been such high priority, it should be Billy Geist. Yeah. Now they've done that.
Expecting supports for the. I would expect support to get in top 3, honestly.
Warden Kelvin.
Yeah.
They have to pick the Kelvin if they don't want to be banned. And Warden, I think Floormen would probably ban Warden if it wasn't picked. So the Kelvin comes in. We'll see if they value the Warden on the same level for John, or they go, we don't really care. We're going to grab a Mirage. Like, they do have other options that they prove. They don't necessarily have to prioritize the Warden that high. I think if John's okay doing Mirage again, grabbing Rem. Well, no, they don't need Rem with Kelvin. What am I saying? They've prioritized the Mirage. Yeah.
I mean, it's again for the way they've been playing today and the way they play in the past. That could be DMB pick. That could be John's pick. And we don't really talk about like the overlap of hero pools and Melee Creeps. I actually think we like almost never talk about the overlap of heroes in Melee. I think they're one of the few teams we don't talk about how their hero pools overlap, because honestly, it feels like they don't overlap that often. I think Fishkick and Ido have like a small overlap of Abrams and Shiv, and then now John and DMB with Mirage. But I can't think of any other heroes beyond that off the top of my head that overlap.
Well, they banned Warden, so this is definitely going to probably force Scout Bebop again. But I don't know about grabbing Yamato there. Like, you already had Billy Geist. Your tankiness is pretty good. Picking Yamato comes at the cost of Holiday. Like, unless Melee Creeps forgot about the beatdown they got from Goober, they're going to ban Holiday. Yeah. Now, the one change they should make, pick Paradox. It's weird though, because like I feel like Floormen, it's not their favorite because I don't think they want to put Goober on the Paradox per se, but I think Paradox objectively is the right pick. But okay, it's we hate John. We hate John DMB. This is either gonna force John on something weird, or it's gonna force DMB on something off like Infernus.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see. I mean, you called it perfectly with the Infernus. Yeah. So now we know John will be on the Mirage. This is gonna be really interesting though to see Goober on Bebop, because he's flexed to like Viscous, Holiday, Viscous, and now Bebop, and he was one of the OG Bebop players, just like John was. And I'm really liking Floormen's comp so far. I'm trying to think, will a Page or a Rem fit better for them? And I feel like Rem would actually kind of be perfect if they can get it here. They're
gonna Rem. Like, they've had the choice of Rem or Page multiple times, and they've chosen Rem every single time, and it's been Rocker that's been playing it. They're going to put Goober on Bebop. I think that much is assured. So it's going to be Lash Rem is the final picks here, is what I would assume. I mean, look, maybe they want a surprise, because didn't they have one game where there was like no supports whatsoever? It was like the support was Rocker on GT. Like, that was the thing.
Helping people's what I do.
Okay.
Oh, what? I mean, at least it's going to be a support Ivy. By the way, speaking of heroes, what's the Pashi?
Guys.
Oh, no, wait.
Lord and M Lash, Goober Bebop, AVG Yamato, League. League Yamato, AVG Billy, Rocker Ivy.
Sorry, I was getting my 2 seconds up for a second. So, yeah, Pashi's going to be on the Geist.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be, also for Melee Creeps, grabbing Paradox at the end. That's honestly pretty high value. If they get Paradox that late in the draft, I think you're pretty happy about it. I think they did get pinched a little bit on DMB John, but John's a good Mirage, and DMB is proven to be one of the last remaining Infernuses. So I don't think Melee Creeps hates this draft, although the one thing about it, Jason, relative to what people have been prioritizing, it's a little bit on the squishy side. They don't have a second frontliner to go along with Shiv the way they normally do. It's just Kelvin, Shiv, and then the rest is a little bit, squishier.
It doesn't seem to synergize that well with Kelvin's Dome, is how I look at it. Because you have a swap, but I think Kelvin just likes having more bruisers around him. Like more Shivs, Yamatos, Geist, Billy, like more beefy targets, so that when you dome, you're getting much more value. Mirage and Furnace and Mina all want to create distance and stay away from like getting close to people, which is obviously not going to help Kelvin out that much. So it's slightly different. But that also means Melee Creeps have to change how they like force these fights too. And those domes are going to be, I guess Saya has to flip a switch in his head of how he's going to use these domes differently now. He can't use it as more of a like an engage anymore, because it's only going to be him and Shiv together inside of that dome most likely.
Yeah. Also, looking at farm pressure here, I think the farm tension is a little bit higher for melee creeps this time around because Mina wants farm, Infernus wants farm, Mirage wants farm, and generally speaking, Shiv doesn't enjoy being broke. Not all of them are going to get to their ideal farm targets. Like, someone is going to be broker than the others. It's not in harmony the way that the comp they had last map was.
Yeah. And I mean, also one thing they need to worry about is the Lash ultimate too. I know Kelvin, his dome can be decent against that kind of engage, but the fact is you have like a Bebop hook and you have Lash you have to worry about. And I bring that up, obviously it's kind of like different than talking about farm, but the fact is, like, Counterspell would go hard for Mirage, Mina, and Infernus, even though you can't escape the ultimate with your bats and you can escape with your Tornado, but you don't want to commit that to escape a Lash ultimate. You want to, I think like Counterspell something you have to buy relatively early. We did see that happen in game 1, I think it was some early, actually no, that was it was game 1. It was Pachapop who bought like really early Counterspell, but like I expect to see the item very quickly for this team if melee creeps want to be able to skirmish in the mid game.
Interestingly enough, though, when I think about the overall gameplay flow here, I do think Floormen are much more under pressure to come out mid game with like a 10-15k lead. I think if it goes late, just because of Kelvin being able to provide protection, Mirage being able to get one of the best late game damage dealers, along with Infernus, I think melee creeps kind of enjoys if this one goes pretty long. Floormen, they're on a bit of a timer here. It's not the hardest of timers because there are like scenarios where your Amato guys get really, really big. But should it go really late, I think melee creeps just has more overall like power and synergy within their composition. So it's going to be interesting. Like, I do think Floormen need to really leverage the fact that, okay, you have Bebop, you have Lash. You can be a little bit more aggressive in the early to mid.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of rotations too. Out of Mole Goober in particular, it wasn't necessarily Bebop, but his holiday rotations were pretty on point. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did something similar. I'm trying to think about like lanes as well. Who's going to be paired with who in this? And I want to say you need to put Bebop mid because you need him to be able to flex between the side lanes. But also, you're not going to be too sad if Goober gets fed farm. And if you were talking about farm before, there's not that many mouths to feed on Floormen's side. It's kind of just Geist.
Yeah, I mean, you want Geist, you want Yamato, but, your Billy, he likes to be average. He doesn't have to be turbo farmed. Again, your Lash kind of likes being a little bit farmed, but it's like Floormen have a much better spread, all in all.
Well, here we go. It's time to head into it. It's the final game of shift number 24. We need to plan something special. We have Valentine's Day coming up soon, ZP. We need to figure something out if we want to do something for that show. Maybe we all have... No, I don't know. I was say we all have our significant others if we have them on.
Hey, some of us are single. More than one.
I was like, maybe not.
Actually, it may just be one. I
think it's just you.
Yeah, I think it's just
ladies. If you're looking for a Valentine's, we got a single caster man on over here. If you're in the Minnesota area, an extra plus.
Jason right now just doing the dating intros, just like, just so you know, it's area. I was thinking, it's like, surely someone else is like, nope. It was like, crap.
ZP, I think my dream job, if I could ever get it, would be to like host a Netflix game show. I think I would do a great job at that.
That's your final aspiration. Like, other people be like, I want to cast the NFL. I want to do this like larger thing. You're just like, I want to cast a budget Netflix game show that gets 2, maybe 3 seasons, and then maybe segue my career into a Discovery 90 Day Fiance.
Have you ever seen Is It Cake?
I mean, I've seen general memes on the internet. I didn't know about like an actual.
It's like a show about making like hyper realistic cakes, and these like 3 celebrity guest judges come in and have to like guess which one's the real cake competition. The guy who hosts that, he's on Saturday Night Live. I don't know his name. I don't remember, but I feel like I'd do a better job than him. Put me in, please. Come on, Netflix.
I'd nominate you for the Great British Bake Off. Also, if maybe,
I think ZP though, I'm too tall. That's the problem. I'm too tall for like TV shows because everyone's just really short next to me. I mean, I think it was the Atlantic Showdown for Overwatch in 2016. We were gonna do a standing desk, but because Zoe was so short and I was so tall, we ended up making everyone sit.
Damn. You actually ruined the entire like flow of the show by being too tall. How dare you? Also, a lot of the OW people were tall. Like the norm in OW was like being over 6 foot, and then some. It was like, you know, a few exceptions here and there. A few boxes were handed out to a few casters, but you know, that was the case. But Jason, we got to talk about the game. We got a Shiv Mina lane on the left-hand side, and off in the middle, Mirage Paradox. Mirage Paradox, I do like that lane. It's just a lot hinges on if Goober's going to land hooks or not.
If Goober's gonna land hooks or not. Come on. Don't you remember me glazing him earlier?
Yeah, but
I don't remember the last time he's played Bebop, so I could be wrong.
It's been a while.
I see Ivy.
Still a good Bebop, mind you. But DMB getting hot and heavy inside the mini creep room. So far, kind of a quiet game, Jason, relative to some of the games I've had here today. You know, HP maybe a little bit low on DMB, but I'm curious how the roaming goes down, because roaming is where things have gotten pretty rough. As okay, more damage here on the scout. Parry tempt out 8 HP in a dream, and League gonna be collecting first blood for the Floormen.
Yeah, just as you said, it's been relatively quiet. And then we get a kill. Yeah, I was looking at the minimap and I was just waiting for the rotations to come through. As we saw before, like Saya got massively punished on the left-hand side in the last match. Doesn't seem to be quite as punished on the right-hand side this time. So it looks like maybe Lord and M and Goober potentially could head over towards the left-hand side. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. It's just pretty much box farming. And the staple now of Deadlock.
Goober's flirting with the idea of going to the left. You look at the movement here so far. If an opportunity comes up, I think Goober's going to take it. But for now, it looks like that path is rotating back or the middle. But for melee creeps here, Jason, Scout might be looking to get active. Leaning a little bit more towards the left, and it's going to be the 3 on just Billy, perhaps, coming up here as Scout maybe has thought twice is going the other way.
Oh, what a parry! Damn! I mean, it didn't really matter much, but that was still a sick parry to see off the back of the tornado.
Even if you don't do damage after it, you still get the R attacks. You just,
oh yeah,
you know,
it's all about the aura. That's so cool though. Yeah, you know, I have to agree. It's been a little bit quieter in this match. Ido, he's looking for a bit of a gank here to spot out Goober. Wouldn't expect normally Mina to be the one to gank, to be honest.
No, Mina usually likes acquiring a little bit more souls. Like Mina, it's not that Mina doesn't get active in the early game, but Mina's activity is more, you had a good lane and got disproportionate farm in, you know, the first 7 or 8 minutes, and then you roam around like a god until like 15. But we do have a full 3 hidden left from melee creeps, and I mean, AVG and Lord and M are showing it all the respect in the world. I don't think that's going to result in a kill, at least until your next round of rotations, which maybe hang to defend middle at the moment.
Yeah, 30 seconds away for the buffs to come up. Just mentioning that because, again, melee creeps took double buffs 3 times in a row in the last game. So maybe we're going to see the rotations come out to secure those. Ido's already in position on the left-hand side, but it has to shove out a wave. But yeah, very, very quiet. I think you're kind of feeling the pressure of this series too, because for Floormen, you know, look at the roster and look at the history of the players, you would expect them to be winning events or to be like trading events, and not having to win so long and being so close right now, it's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking for him.
Mina things. No other hero in the game is getting out of that situation other than Mina. The amount that Ido just got dragged away, but the fight's still ongoing. Fishcake, 200 HP, pressure in off Goober, the bomb about to explode, and no Shiv, you're not living through that one. Floormen with the rotation of 3 onto the left-hand side, and you know, Ido's still in the neighborhood, but definitely waiting for things to clear out a little bit because it is anything but safe.
Slowing Hex, oh man. Looking very reminiscent of the Cool Cheese match we had earlier on with some early ganks. Yeah, I mean, the start of these games has just been kind of so weird. They've been eventful, but also not eventful. And well, speaking of eventful, Combustion got to come in to get the catch. A double catch, a double stun coming through as we also have the rotation out of Scout to join in for this fight. But there's the health swap coming through. And there's John farming in the mid lane. As we do see DMB eventually go down. Knock on wood so he doesn't miss kills. Well, he did there.
Saya did not have ult there. That was the problem. Like, Saya could have saved DMB, but was just a little bit behind in farm, Jason. So Frozen Shelter was not a pressable button at that time. Still, though, it doesn't really work out all that poorly for melee creeps. Yet another trade in a long line of trades here so far. 25k to 25k. And you look at Guardian stats, about as even as it gets so far, Jason.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised for it to be this close, especially with a little bit of a slower pace off the get-go. Early extra stam here for Kelvin. I found that actually really interesting. I don't believe he's bought that in the last 2 games to kind of switch things up. Maybe he's thinking he needs the extra stam. Not sure exactly what for. It's not like there's any hard CC other than like a hook or a stomp from a stone gargoyle.
I mean, it is helpful to get away if you get hooked. Would maybe be the main thing I would look at, but right now just keeping an eye on what the next major rotation is going to be. Melee creeps had opened possibility for Scout to overload on the left-hand side, but it's going back. But a little bit of a skirmish here off in the middle. We see Rocker just going back to lane. Where, by the way, if we can look at Rocker's build, I assume Rocker is just going full support Ivy based on their comp. I highly doubt we're going to be seeing another gun Ivy. As, wait, through the veil, hook up and in from Goober. Shouldn't be lethal, but, you know, just a little HP tax as off to their end. Lord NM, Death Slam, waits it out, lands it, but gonna pay a terrible price for it. The Nox Nostra punishing Lash post-ult.
Boombo's up, Decay's up as well. You have to be so careful for AVG here. And we'll back off to safety, but it still takes a lot of damage. And yeah, like a headhunter, backstabber, initial pickup for Rocker. Something Saya does as well. Eventually we'll go into Healing Nova. And well, Goober's back involved in another fight yet again here, trying to go for the catch on the Scout. Power Slash does some okay damage, but League is eventually able to close out this kill, and Floormen immediately respawn back, keeping things equal at 34k apiece. And well, DMB, you know, for people who aren't seen Infernus often in their games, I think kind of a decent consensus. I don't want to say general consensus that Infernus can still be really strong. I think we maybe have to ask the right people. So maybe it's not even like a close consensus. But he's still, I don't know, in my eyes, ZP, I still feel like he's really strong, especially against like spirit heavy teams. He's so like fast around the map. He can apply so many debuffs, attack speed slows. I mean, depending on the way he ends up building as well later on, but he's so slippery and hard to lock down to kill.
I think he's just been underrated. It's been a bit of a global overreaction to nerfs. Not from pubs. He's still like one of the highest pick rate heroes in the game. But in comp, it's mostly been DMB keeping him alive. And I just think it's a cycle where players overrate the impact of some nerfs. And DMB certainly has shown that Infernus can be very effective. You know, his recent maps playing it have all been wins for melee creeps. And for now, on a little bit of an extra chase down towards Rocker, who uses the terrain pretty wisely to not stay in line of sight. Also, taking a look at the left-hand side here, Jason, things may be heating up. 3-man rotation off to left, 3-on-3, in fact.
Do they want to fight now, or do they want to wait for the Urn to spawn in? I mean, I think a swap came out. No, it hasn't come out. Now it's gone out here onto AVG to lock him down on the Billy. And there's Nox Nostra on top of that to confirm that into a kill, and a perfect time to do so as well. Oh, I know we'll fall to Goober with the Hyper Beam, so maybe it's not so free. As Urn will spawn in here in a few seconds, and it looks like we will see...
Oh! Hold the phone. Bomb in here onto Fishcake. Fishcake super low. This thing's get a little bit dirty now into the secret shop. League able to finish off, who's been quite healthy these last few engagements, but also Jason. We just got a donation drop mid-fight.
Oh, we did? 30 bucks from Kiwi Yuzu. Please tell me that's right, ZP.
It sounds close enough.
I definitely did not read it fully through before starting to say the name, and that is I'm definitely going to get thrown off on that one of the days and might disappear off the show if it's that bad of a name.
Well, also disappearing. Oh, wait, League! Able to stay alive, gets that last little bit of healing off the resto shot, finishes off Ido. Frozen Shelter elsewhere, going down near the Urn pickup. See Lord NM pick up the urn post shelter and well on his way. And for Floormen, this would be a big boon if they're able to get away. But entry or exit denied by John, not making this an easy approach from Lord NM, who's going to have to take the long way around.
I mean, Goober's retreated. Lord NM's retreating. This garden's looking mighty tasty here on the left side. You can already see melee creeps grouping up for this one with Ino and with Fishcake. And DB still on the right-hand side, really easily able to shove up these waves with that flame dash. Just keep the wave shoved nonetheless with his afterburn. So it's not going to be like a quick transition. I think that's the worst part here for Floormen, to not turn that fight into a quick urn. Able to turn into a kill at least with Ido falling. The help of Goober yet again. Man, Goober's been so proactive. He's almost on 10,000 souls here.
Definitely making the Bebop look good. Of course, while the urn is being transported by the Floormen, DMB more efforts on to the Guardian, which by the way is really smart. Like pushing up the Guardian that the urn has to be turned in on now makes this way more palatable to defend its own hyperline time. DMB eating a little bit of damage off that, but with the wave pushed up, this is pretty doable to contest, even as Saya gets hooked in, paying a bit of HP, heals up with the frost grenade, and is able to get out of danger to an extent. But just as I say that, League coming in for the focus fire. John though, meanwhile fighting. Lord NM hanging on to the urn, doesn't commit for the dunk here yet, just kind of bouncing around as we see Goober trying to clear the way with the hyper beam. Bit of chaos, and finally Lord NM gets enough clearance to turn it in.
And if they're able to kill Fishcake here, they spot him out or sniff him out, that would be such a big win for them. I mean, while that was happening, John was doing the DMB thing, pushing a lane on the left-hand side, getting a Guardian. But as the game progresses further on, it's still really not big of a difference between the two teams. I mean, you couldn't even tell the difference in souls, right, with how this game has been played out so far.
Also, just because he showed up in chat, big shout out to Fishsticks, friend of the stream, and congratulations on surviving Frosty Fostings and not having the tainted water. Or surviving if you did have the tainted water. I actually don't know. But either way, Nox Ostra coming out. Goober really far. I'm dying here would send him on a much longer spawn time, but says, you know what, I'm still hungry. Goes for the hook. Doesn't connect, but gotta respect the attempt.
I see Kelvin.
Death slams up. Lord M's looking for something. Is getting information. A lot of sinners up here on this right-hand side to be taken still for Floormen. Can we maybe head to Goober at some point just to see what he's sitting on item-wise? Is it going to be relatively similar to what we had John or Scout going for? Going in towards that Tesla into capacitor. And actually, melee creeps in the meantime have pushed up here to seal away at least one of these turns. You can see Goober enduring speed. He's got the battle vest, Chantress Emblem, Slow and Hex. Okay, so not really too developed into his build, but he is starting to hit towards these investments relatively soon. And then his leveling, and he's 2 points in 2, 2 points in 3, and 2 points in 4.
In a way, the Goober build, the Bebop build, reminds me a little bit of the old gun build, except like in the sense that you got a lot of vitality first, except instead of orange items, you're now just going spirit. You know, you go back to the good old days of the build John was able to use back in Troll League when melee creeps really started to flip the script. But up we go here. DMB, concussive combustion, ready. Goober, the main target, but he's all sorts of tanky. Returns fire with the hyper beam, and I don't know if Goober cares too much right now. Gang fire from the side and the swap. All the attention in the world from melee creeps. Finally gonna bring down the robot.
Let's push Greenwich.
Let's push York.
That right lane was shoving extremely hard. I mean, just small victories here and there. I mean, we've talked to so many players, and it's a battle of mistakes. It's a battle of who makes the least mistakes and who's able to capitalize on those mistakes. And I mean, a small victory, they get one kill, but still, the kill's going to help and allows them to take some jungle. You can see on the right-hand side, they're going for an invade on towards potentially the double sinners, but the counter pressures come in from Floormen onto this middle lane. They're immediately forced to head back here for melee creeps to defend it.
Also, I mean, while mid lane is being fought for, Urn soon to be fightable in on the right-hand side. Melee creeps going to be the first one to get a little bit positioning here. Wall comes out to cover the pickup, and away Scout is going to go.
I heard the hand. The claw of God.
Wait, Yamato? The light melee hit! That's a full-on Urn drop!
Let's go to you.
However, it's not turned into an Urn pickup. For now, it's just dropping the Urn where it's at. A little bit of extra delay. Oftentimes pretty worthwhile, but the Urn is picked back up and melee creeps still in control.
Death Slam up though for Lord and M. This isn't gonna be a free turn, and they're actually going for a fight before the Urn even gets here, catching on to 2. But Lord and M able to get the kill into DMB, forcing Fish Cake back. And you see up to the side, Rocker's trying to come in to go for the melee, but the dunk gets done either way. And Scout, well, they might lose 1, maybe 2 players here, but they still win that battle of getting the Urn turn in.
Floormen almost got the best of all worlds there, and they still might come out feeling pretty good as AVG just goes thunk over the Fish Cake on the chase down. But really, Lord and M was just a second off from also getting the Urn interrupt there, so I think Floormen made a pretty calculated play. And as Goober, though, does get, you know, extra bomb hit towards the end.
I mean, they get Urn, but they lose 3 players. So it's not really that big of a net win for them, even though it is the second Urn of the game. I think it's all about taking stock of where the farm is, and one thing for Floormen is AVG on 20,000 souls.
Hello?
Where the hell did that hook come from?
A place that Mirage doesn't want to be. John going, wait, I'm usually the one to bebop. This doesn't feel very good. Tornado, though, such a good escapability that it's not lethal, even though probably gave John the scare of his life.
I didn't even see the hook come in.
Yeah, neither did John.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely apparent.
Is not ready.
I mean, I don't know. This game felt weird. I don't know if that's just me, ZP, compared to the rest of the matches in this series and the earlier match in North America. It seems for Floormen, they're just heavily reliant around Goober or Lord and M to start things off. Oh my god.
Oh, no way.
Hyper beam.
You know what? With upgrade mobility on this orbital battle station, Lord and M fighting Scout off the real pandemonium. Not a move you see all that often. Certainly enough to take the Guardian. As Floormen add on to their advantage. But, you know, to answer your question, Jason, I just think the tension of what's at stake is being felt by both teams. Floormen, this is their best opportunity they've had in a long time. Melee creeps is the most vulnerable they've felt in a long time, and the prize pool is higher than ever.
Oh my god, he gets so lucky that the slam doesn't come down while he's getting pulled in. Is he gonna be able to finish it off with the burn?
It's close.
No.
It's still alive. Okay, it's getting backdoored. Like, that is backdoor range for the Walker. You don't have to wait for a wave. Someone's gonna make a field trip up there, Jason.
And it's probably going to be DMB, if we're honest about it.
Saya's HP. That's 1 HP. Actual drops of... Oh, the bait. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Saya still is going to die, and it's not going to result in Yamato dying in turn. So, not quite as baited as it may have looked. Still, good attempt to try and stay alive. Now, is League going to be able to get out of here as more people are on the way in? Swap with backup from John into the tornado. Goodbye. Still kind of qualifies as bait with the end result.
Yeah, and again, like another trade that's pretty much net even. Though Floormen are slowly starting to get ahead here. And actually, it might be Fish Cake to get the Walker. Not being back toward for now. But DMB, I mean, is he really going for K-Dash next? The extra speed's not bad. The extra stamina's not bad.
K-Dash, I think, is still a good item, even if it's not quite the ultimate buy this all the time item. Even still maybe a candidate for a nerf, but the change they made where you can't get extra base ammo on top of the other bonus, you know, definitely made it a little bit less desirable.
I'm just trying to think, does he build into gun items later? Because then wouldn't it be better just to go Arcane Surge instead? You get extra width on your Flame Dash and Combustion. I just don't remember. I mean, if he's building K-Dash, I'm assuming he's going to build towards more gun later.
You would think.
Maybe, I think maybe he goes Spirit Rend?
You could. I mean, there are a lot of Infernos builds that did. I mean, there's also a lot of ways to build first, but the Hyperline! Oh, into the ground strike. That is not a pleasant feeling at all for Scout. Nox Nostra being dropped by Ido to give a little bit of support from Scout, who's about to get put into the blender. And it may have been just enough to get him free. We'll see. Goober still potentially looking for a hook. Definitely has the angle. That was terrifying if you were Scout.
Yeah, Scout had no idea where it's going. He's like, okay, I'm stunned going up to the top of the buff. Wait, now I'm getting ground striked into the ground. Just let me play the game. Next Urn is up. And it's picked up here for AVG. Not the person you want to carry it at 26,000 souls. You want to throw it to someone else. Hyperline? There's going to be a knockdown. And Rocker's very low in health.
Urn control. Firmly grabbed by Floormen. But this one definitely looks like it's going to be contested in full by melee creeps who, or at the very least, maybe they just go for 2 walkers. So you have the easy finish here on left. You could go base Guardians, you could go middle. I think you give up the urn at this point, and maybe Guardians here on the menu with the side of Yamato.
I thought they might shelter this, because that could have been a kill. I think you almost guarantee have that kill in the league if you shelter that. But yeah, they get 1 walker. DMB's busy fighting 3 players just north above the urn and surviving somehow.
Shadow form is not ready.
Look at the situation. This is maybe the most tense game 3, Jason, we have had in a very long time. Even Floormen being up 7k off of the last sequence of plays, this is about as close as it gets. And even the late game options, I think we kind of established that melee creeps have the somewhat better late game, but it is not a sweep by any means. And it's also tempered by the fact that, you know, you look at who has farm for Floormen, their front line is horrifying at the moment. I think Lord and M is actually, the fact that Lord and M is like low on farm is enabling the people you really want to have farm in the Yamato, the Billy, and Geist, you know, to get more of a spread. Like the economy spread for Floormen is actually quite good at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm actually really happy to see AVG sitting at 29k, because I thinking back to the original melee creeps, thinking back to the MLC who beat the original Hydra Nation and were able to create their own kind of dynasty. I always like seeing him on more of like these carry players, and he doesn't really play it in that carry role anymore. He doesn't play someone that gets fed farm. He likes to be one of the players who skirmishes and battles a lot in that mid game. But I still feel like he could easily be one of the strongest carry players if you wanted to go that route. We're not saying carry player, because I'm not talking like Toshi Pop in this situation, but someone who gets fed farm, like that second player in your team, to make an impact.
You know what I'm excited for with the return of Hydration being imminent? I want Hydration to be a little bit more selfish. He was the ultimate flex player for Floormen, but Hydration was really good when he was locked into specific roles. You think back to the old school Hydration Warden. Yeah, maybe we'll see a return of that, but Nox Nostra in as once more Scout finding himself under the gun from multiple directions. Time wall swap, buying a little bit of time. And actually, Ido ends up falling in the midst of everything. So Ido Scout both down, not quite able to create enough distance. 2 clean pickoffs here for the Floormen, and getting to the point of the game here, Jason, where mid-boss starts to become a real possibility.
Well, it looks like it's a possibility right now. Killing Blow's not maxed out for Fish Cake yet, so I don't really think you can afford to fight here. I mean, they do have Dome for Saya, and it looks like they will go for the contest. John, he's at 29,000 souls. I don't know if he has Ricochet up. Can't quite tell. But there we see the combustion come in with the help of the frozen shelter, locks in multiple players here next to this Reju, which is just frozen solid. No chance to pick this one up. But as the kills come through, Fishcake's able to take 1 Reju, and they do get 2 themselves for melee creeps, already blown out in the first one with Ido, and the second one onto Fishcake. And no Reju's left, but the fight continues on here, ZP.
No one's in the Rejuve, but a lot of people are leaving with the hospital bill. John, though, high damage, eventually brought down towards the end. Wasn't quite able to get away. Take a look at Fishcake here. A shiv towards the end of the battlefield is a happy one indeed. Able to get the last kill. No more killing blow left, but still enough to walk on over and slap him in the face. In the aftermath here, it's beneficial for melee creeps, but it does leave us in basically an even situation. Melee creeps, I think they're going to get the mid-walker, so they'll come out slightly ahead. But this is still anyone's game, Jason.
Big change-up, too. I just realized I was looking at Fishcake's abilities. He maxed his blades, serrated blades, instead of going for the killing blow like we've seen all shivs today. Quite a big change-up, I'd say. As you look there, I mean, obviously the killing blow, I think reset wouldn't matter too much since they still won the fight, but interesting to see that he's still going for the blades considering the nerfs. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I thought it was dash and then ult nowadays.
I think you're right in that regards, but also, you know, recent events. Spirit buff for Ido, very welcome occurrence indeed if you're playing Mina at this point in the game. I mean, at any point in the game, really, but especially when the buff is way more powerful. And I think this is the lasting impact of that last fight, is that not only does Floormen lose a walker, but they also lose urn control for next urn, which is pretty damn important. I mean, 145k, 142k, it's effectively an even game, but an urn would swing it to whoever gets it at this point. So if you're Floormen, although, Jason, Floormen also need a walker. At this deep in the game, you're feeling the lack of a flex slot. I think if you trade Earn for Walker, it's not the worst
Heading to
here.
Greenwich.
Looks like they might be doing that. Look at that mini map, man. 4 players descending on the Lonely Walker and John on the right-hand side.
This makes sense. They really do need the flex slot at this point. You're not going to be... Yes, you're going to be down a little bit in farm, but it's not that big of a deal compared to making sure you don't get slot locked.
Well, Earn still gets turned in. And Floormen do get away with the Walker. Like a little bit of an exchange there. It's only a 7k lead for melee creeps, and honestly, this far in, not that big of a deal. I think the one big advantage, obviously, is going to be the extra flex slot that melee creeps do have. I don't think the economy is quite there for that to matter too much.
No, and again, that's why I think in overall decisions you could have made, because you think about the game, if you fail to contest to Earn, and then you're slot locked, like, it's probably over. But, you know, Shiv, a few daggers going in the Billy, who so far AVG not really feeling too much of the burn, but more people coming on over. Scout, swap, ready to go. Everyone going the Russell with Billy off into the closet here and now. Chengang, though, is out. Billy here under the gun, can't survive. Rocker dies at the same time, trying to help out. 2 down now for the Floormen as melee creeps look to add on. League, maybe next to fall here. He's really low HP. League, slow and down. Big plays for the melee creeps.
Yeah, this is a snowball too. Now the fish kick has ult max as well. They can continue to push and go for these fights. Nobody can just close out these kills very easily, even dropping back to buy up really quickly. Picks up superior cooldown, so even more annoying for him. And Sai is on almost, he's on 5,000 souls. So you got the superior cooldown, rapid recharge, superior duration. Would assume a refresher or boundless is going to be next on the cards for him to take.
That was an abduction. Luckily for melee creeps, it was on Ido, who was able to sanguine out, but you just see Mina getting snatched from halfway across the map. She just happens to have the escape ability that also lets her go halfway across the map the other direction.
DB is just like, what's back here? And they're pushing the Walker. There's no rejuice, obviously, but there's a 14k difference. There's a Nox Nostra coming through, trying to silence up Rocker and force him back. And I mean, they're just hard forcing them back. No chance to contest this Walker. They're giving it up for free. And Lord and M, he does have ult, but they need to wait for AVG to respawn back in.
Here comes Lord and M. It's actually huge. Gets 3. Is the fall through going to be there? Over in, looking for Fish Cake. Fish Cake wounded in off the initiation from Lord and M. Has to take a breather back the other way. Floormen, they're about to get support here from Goober coming in off the hyper line. Looking for isolation here on the melee creeps. Fish Cake still super low. League able to find on the Saya. It's a comeback now for the Floormen. They lose the Walker, get 2 kills onto the melee creeps. We'll see if they can get a little bit more and, frankly, fix their lanes.
Yeah, I think they're going to be doing that for the next minute or two, fixing lanes, trying to grab their own jungle. I still don't think it's like the worst for melee creeps here. They lose, what, 2 players, but they still get the last Walker of the game. And the soul lead has fallen down to about 11k, but I still don't think that's necessarily the worst case. Just more curious about how many souls does Saya have left? Is a refresher on the card soon, or will it be that Boundless Spirit?
Let's go to
I think the next fight could decide it here, Jason, one way or another, especially with mid-boss now about to be under a minute. Floormen, they'd love to get an extra Walker here. Melee creeps down 2. They don't really have what it takes to defend it, and, you know, being here is a risk. Like, yeah, you're trying to poke around with John, you get Nox Nostra in from Ido, but if you go too deep on the chase here, it can easily backfire.
Especially with AVG and Chengang, the John.
They're still down DMB.
Up here. Ido gets a kill in the league. I mean, we got Ricochet and Crippling and Inhibitor for John already online. He dodges away from the hook too, dodges a capacitor on top of that. Man cannot be stopped.
It's really important they got that though, Jason, because now, even if they don't get anything else, wait, they get AVG on top of it. This is a disaster now for Floormen. Look at the timers. Losing League was doable. Losing AVG for 80 seconds is miserable. Saya's going to have Dome up for the next mid-boss. You have a full 6-man setup. Floormen, they probably need the contest. I think they need to get a rejuve charge out. But if they don't, this is worst case scenario. The mid-boss is fully set now for a melee creeps victory.
Did you know, by the way, I'm actually hesitant to say it, that you don't see items, like the tier 4 items being bought anymore on the top of the screen with the new update to the UI. Did you know that?
Yeah, I mean, it knows like, well, you're not getting the alerts anymore. I think the alerts were good. At the very least, they should be in observer mode.
Spectators,
But
for sure.
yeah.
I'm curious. I don't like. Sai had 5K before he died previously. I'm wondering, has he bought refresher, or did he go boundless, or like if he has refresher here, you say goodbye to this mid boss. I don't think Floormen can even bother to contest it because you're just gonna not lose this fight if you're melee creeps. You should not lose that fight.
It's not a position you love to be in, but down AVG, I just don't think you can go in here. And from the looks of it, Jason, neither do the Floormen think that that is a viable option. So as we head into what is the final act of map 3, and one of the longest days we've had in night shift history, melee creeps, though it's been a long road, they've taken the first steps to finishing this off and defending the throne.
Oh my god, he has boundless, and he's about to have refresher. I think this is, yeah, we're approaching the end of the game once he gets refresher. As long as they can fight in a way that they know they should be able to win. And I really want to see how much he's healing too, because he also has max ice path. He's about to have max frost grenade, and he has refresher not picked up.
Yep.
This is rough times because AVG, that lead he had, right? We were talking about him being, 30, 35, almost 40K now, but the last 2 deaths he's had, he hasn't been able to do anything, and he's just stagnated in souls. He's had that 70-second respawn timer you pointed out before as he got caught in mid lane. They're lacking on damage.
The AVG pick was probably the worst thing that happened there. I think if Lee got picked, they had enough time to contest or just go in 5v6 with the Billy. It would have been much more of a question. It was the second pickoff after Lee got caught when Floormen were full retreat from the left walker that set this in motion.
I see Bebop.
You got another tip, ZP. In
That
the prize
heathen
pool.
Jay.
Thank you so much. Remember, anything you donate to the prize pool does not get touched by us. Go straight to the players. So we appreciate the overwhelming donations we've had today. I think we've had almost 2K in donations today, actually.
It's been a pretty incredible day for the players. That much is for sure. And also a good showing the community. But all right, Hook comes in. DMB, the target. They'd love to get a rejuve charge out here, but I don't know if they have the damage chases down, not without exposing themselves pretty badly in the same way. Floormen backs against the wall. AVG can't get back into the fountain. Down 1 as Shrines now at stake. Melee creeps in what could be the final lap.
Yeah, triple stun too. Florin comes in. I see 1 counter spell come out. He gets a throw on 2 with the death slam, but into a frozen shelter is going to keep them extremely healthy for now. And just watch their health bars. They're spiking here or there, but remember, we have refreshers, so Sai can throw another one down if he needs.
Yeah, another one comes down just as you mentioned that. Double dome, double the protection as it comes on in. Scout able to take down first shrine, next shrine not looking as healthy. Floormen struggling to stay alive in their own fountain. The support being thrown out by Saya, absolutely ridiculous. And only 1 rejuve has been burned. The Archmother now under assault as melee creeps look to finish off strong and defend their strongest challenge yet. Stage 2 patron on the way. And with 2 rejuves in the bank, Jason, melee creeps, they don't look to be leaving whatsoever. They're ready. They're sitting here for the finish. Nox Nostra coming out in. Ido says, get out of here. The patron trying to defend itself. Lord NM, a last-ditch effort inside the fountain. And we'll see. They take down Fishcake. Melee creeps, did they bite more than they can chew? Still potentially defense here in onto the patron. John takes down AVG though. The damage in from John still really high. Lord NM taking down the Archmother down to a 3rd. And melee creeps about to finish off here and now. Still a few defenders left into the pit. A valiant last defense effort. Ido though deals with Pashi. DMB, low HP, still 2 rejuves in the bank as the Archmother continues to go down. Last rejuves are out of it. Final moment here and now as DMB puts in the last blow damage. All Floormen are down and melee creeps defend the throne, Jason, in what was a ridiculous series.
Respect to Lord and M though. Sold some items, bought refresher last second to get a triple throw into their spawn. But it just wasn't going to be enough. I mean, they tried everything up to the last moment. They looked really good this week though compared to last week's. I mean, that first map wasn't even close, and then unfortunately for them, neither was map 2 or 3, just in the opposite direction. But again, melee creeps, I think this is like 15 weeks in a row now, and the biggest prize pool we've had in the night shift ever since its inception. Not a bad day for them, man.
No, not at all. And man, I think that it's exciting for NA because it shows melee creeps can be challenged. And I also think the new Hydra Nation roster could be pretty strong too. So NA might be entering its golden era of 3 very, very strong teams. And Jason, I'm feeling you. It has been
3.
a long,
We got
long
4,
series.
bro. You forget about BWC.
And BWC, yes. Look, it's been a long night, as you also know. Longer for you because you're in Italy. But
It is 5:36 a.m. Yes, over here. But you know, it's always worth it to see some like crazy action, and even seeing this, the AC-130 from the sky for Goober being flown around with his ultimate. I mean, yeah, like Floormen, they showed some really good things. Again, like seeing AVG, I mean, 25K here. Look how far ahead he is from everyone in this game. It's just unfortunate that he wasn't able to carry that through, especially being caught 2-3 times in a row. But we've seen improvement out of Floormen. And again, I think like Goober brings a lot to the team. I think Rockers brought a lot to the team. We saw Goober on Holiday just massively destroy melee creeps. His Viscous decimated BWC. So they definitely have pieced together like a pretty damn strong roster. I think give another week or two to practice, since they've only been together for what, 2-3 weeks, then we're going to see some real competition out of them. Well, I mean, there's already real competition. That sounds wrong, but we're going to see, I think, a change in title holder in North America.
yeah, safe to say, you know, melee creeps are gonna have to play better than ever to defend the throne. But they rose to the occasion here today, and you know, looking at the final stat screen, I know 2 back-to-back really great games on the Mina, but to me the standout had to be Saya. Great frozen shelters when they need it most, heavy consistent healing, and I think to me the backbone of how melee creeps was able to win in both of these games.
Yeah, and even when Spirit Sap at the end, I didn't even notice that one. Maybe going into Focus Lens if he ever got somehow another 6400 item picked up for himself. But yeah, I think, yeah, Saya's proven that Kelvin is still viable, is still playable. Maybe Saint over at Abraham's camp is watching this and being like, I too enjoyed playing Kelvin. Maybe we can see him come back into the EU side of things in the following weeks. And then looking across the board, I think, I don't know. I don't really know what to like look at within Floormen's squad that didn't really work. I mean, AVG for 39,000 souls didn't have that much damage, but he also didn't invest damage heavy either. I believe he didn't get point blank until way later in the game, because he was acting more tanky. He picked up a very early Colossus, like a Torment Pulse, as well as Spellbreaker he had very early before he had point blank. And then maybe Poshpot being low in the damage numbers, but I really can't tell from how the way the game's been going.
I'm thinking back to where things really changed, and you know, I think some of the mid-boss fights, melee creeps have still been best in class. Like, I'm just kind of racking my head, and for the most part, when it comes to dealing around mid-boss, especially making an opportunity, I guess it really would. The game did swing on the one play where Floormen stayed a little bit too long at the walker and League got caught. If the chase down doesn't happen, that League gets caught, then AVG probably doesn't die a little bit later, and it doesn't lead into what was the game-defining mid-boss. It was that sequence that lost Floormen the game, because I think up until that point, it was about as even gets.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that one moment where you can see on the soul graph on the bottom, like how it turns back and forth between the two teams. And then Floormen had their biggest lead, and then from there it just kind of spiraled, especially around that mid-boss, where melee creeps were able to, well, just, I mean, destroy them, right? Because I think they lost maybe one player, and they ended up getting like 4 kills on that one.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to coordinate the host right now, so I did not hear the last bit you're saying, because I told John, get ready for your all-night stream, because we're gonna drop you a host at the end here, and he's like, all right. He's willing to blow up his sleep schedule, just like we're willing to talk about the MVP. Jason, it was a tough call, but we had to get a little bit frosty with it. The MVP, it's Saya.
Yeah, I think it's deserved. I think I started off the whole segment of this series talking about how Saya, if you ask a lot of the pros, they'll say he's the best player in North America. And even as a support, you still see him have massive impact, mostly when it comes to his decision making in this game. I mean, he played quite a bit, right? He played Mo, which I mean, wasn't that impactful. Let's be honest. That game didn't really work out too well for them. But both of his Kelvin games, he put up 45k healing in each, which is not a number to scoff at, especially in the second game when it wasn't really like a bruisery comp that he could get multiple people within his own ultimate. In this one, he had DMB, he had Scout, he had Fish Cake, like multiple targets that he could heal up within his frozen shelters, and was still able to pull off some ridiculous healing numbers. We also can't really deny like the rotations around the map and the overwhelming presence he provides.
Also, I love the read here, actually back from both players, between Lord NM and Sai, of just like, okay, you're going up the stairs. Lord Adam goes, oh, I know I'm going up the stairs, so I'm going to go the other way, but I'm still too low in the end to get away. I do think, though, in terms of drafting, it's a real problem. The adjustment that Melee Creeps made was, okay, we can't leave Kelvin to the second half because he's going to get banned by the mid-stage bans. But you can't really afford to ban a Kelvin with your first ban, with the other power that's in the draft. So because Floormen couldn't take down the Kelvin in the first part of the draft and didn't want to play it themselves, picking Kelvin third was just a natural adaptation of Melee Creeps that lets Saya play who he plays best now.
Yeah, and I think we saw like one silence wave out of Rocker in that game when he was playing on the IV. I'm just trying to like think back because it is really late, and I'm trying to think of like what all everyone had in that game. But I bar the second map where Saya was ganked constantly by League, was it? Who was on the Paradox? I don't know. On the Paradox. Whoever was ganking him, he got put so low in souls, like really early into that game, and he was able to bounce back and become a massive threat. He ended up getting boundless, he getting refresher. Like even when you put him down at the beginning, he still keeps that mental clarity and focus to realize, okay, the game's not over just yet. He doesn't really seem to tilt. Yeah, and it was League. That was League coming in to help the silver lane, which like it was like what I think it was like Silver Yamato. It wasn't that strong of a lane, but the lane felt a lot better when you had Paradox coming in to repeatedly just raise some hell. Yeah. And you know what? Hats off to them. I think they deserved it. I think Floormen should be pretty happy with the results, considering they've not really been together too long as a team. Guru played well. Rocker played well. Seeing Rocker on GT not even run support was really interesting because it shows the flexibility that he can bring to the team if they don't want to run a support or run someone who's kind of hybrid between the two. Definitely a lot of potential in North America. Well, we're heading to the end of the show here, Jason, and normally we would just say here's a schedule. I mean, we'll go to the schedule, but I do want to give an extra special shout out after the schedule to all those that donated here tonight. Definitely the biggest night shift ever. Honestly, super appreciative to not only our long-term fans, but all the people that came to check out the show for the first time. As Deadlock is entering a new era, and it feels really bright, Jason. Like today was just awesome, and I can't be more appreciative, on behalf of us, on behalf of the players, for everyone just coming by, hanging out, and enjoying what I think was a good show tonight. Yeah, massive shout out to the viewership. I think we've crushed our records from any show we've done in Night Shift or Fight Night from today. I think we were over 4K at one point over in the EU matches. Some crazy support from everyone out there. And even if you don't have money to donate, not a big deal. You're here to watch every single Wednesday, like we're here every single Wednesday. That's all we ask for, and all the players really appreciate. And don't forget, after here, assuming he's still around, which we will confirm, I was messaging him and saying like, yeah, he's still here. I got a thumbs up. Well, I'll talk about after the hero priority, but we're going to be doing Cool Cheese with the Graveyard Shift after is going to be our guest, for those patrons and subscribers. But before we log off, Jason, we got to talk about hero priority. And, Silver had a pretty big impact on the draft meta. That much is for sure. Yeah. First picked 5 times. I mean, I don't think we ever expected her to not be first picked, and then banned out twice. Honestly, kind of surprised people weren't more afraid of her. But also, did we have a game? Because I didn't fully watch the EU game since I like to watch them back tomorrow when I stream. But did we have a game where Silver really popped off? Silver, I'm trying to think where she looked best. I think she looked best when Abrahams played it. I think Abrahams had a really good game on it. Listic did all right on it. I'm not convinced with the build Listic was running, but Listic was involved in a lot of kills. Like, it wasn't a bad performance on the very first game of the day. So, all in all, Silver definitely looked better on the EU side of things, for sure. Okay. Well, look what's happened down to the bottom list, though. Man, McGinnis picked once. That was over by Sonya Sniper. We had Infernus once. That was DMB. We had 7 once. We had Wraith once. But then look what they've done to our boys. Like, Doorman just dead. And I know you said this, that you're kind of in the camp that people, it's like a knee-jerk reaction to people doing that, or to like doing that. Yeah. Also, you know what? We just had a patch drop directly after Night Shift. We've been dealt a generous hand. We're not going to go through all the changes that went on, but as you're leaving the show, as you're checking out John, we're going to send people to after the stream, a big old patch just hit 4 minutes ago. Bro. It's not kidding. A drill. There is like legit a patch that just hit, and there are a lot of changes for Silver. And a lot of changes for Graves, and some changes to Bebop. and some items.
Yep. Honestly, it's been such a long day. I cannot process all of it, but I'm looking forward to diving into it tomorrow, Jason.
Point
That's all I
Blank
know.
now works on silver in her ult form. Let's go.
That's a buff. That is
That's
a
a
buff
massive
because
buff.
it's been bugged.
Yeah.
That's been itemization that's actually been unavailable to everyone's favorite AWU. But Jason,
Wait.
we're at the end
Yeah.
of the stream, as it's turned out. Any final words or thoughts before we send people off to Mr. John 69?
No, I have one question though. Production, is there a way that we can have your voices show up on stream too? Is that possible, Mr. Solomon? It is possible. Okay. So can we get everyone, and even in chat, I know ZP knows what's coming, all of us give one final AWU before we end off the show? Is that, can we send it off with an AWU?
All right.
Could? Okay. So ZP, whenever you're ready, you call for the AWU. Whenever you're done, wrap it up, and we'll all give it our finest AWU before we throw
We're
it over to
signing
John.
off with the AWU, and we're counting it down in 3, 2, 1.